How's it going, everyone? Don't mind the explosions in the background. It is the 4th of July. It's Happy Murica Day, everybody. To another episode of No
Mini
Excuses.
burgers, yeehaw.
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 Favorite show hosts are still.
Venurian?
And Volatil, and all of us are here together again for like the second week in a row, holy crap, to bring you the latest
Yeah.
news and games commentary for the week. And also orcs, apparently.
Yeah, I've kind of stumbled into a rabbit hole of terrible AI-generated orky music in giant air quotes.
The microsecond he released the Murica one, it went up in my recommend feeds because of you.
Yep.
Like, I not even listened to the entirety of the didgeridoo one. And the microsecond the America one came out, it popped up in my feed.
Honestly, it's a shame because they are quite catchy but very unpolished because it's AI slop. But all that really means is that there's somebody out there who might have been a composer who will never reach their potential because they're just being lazy and using AI slop.
Yeah. Honestly, though, the AI slop aspects kind of lean into the orky factor. But yeah. It's obvious that it's AI just because of the sheer rates that they're being produced, but they're still dumb fun.
You can tell from the lyric choice, too. Just some of it is way too generic and safe that AI would pick.
Yeah.
The thing that bothers me really though is that the in a bygone era, this person might have actually produced really good music.
Yeah.
But
Maybe.
how many talents are going to get lost to AI slop because it's just easier?
I hope you guys like Victor Borba because he's like the last person that actually will go out of their way to hire to do a song and actually sing it and not be AI generated. He'll probably be the
Even
last
if
one.
they do tend to be slightly camp rock ballads these days.
I mean, the biggest song in Clear Obscure, Bury the Light, and the Laha Roy boss fight theme. Boy gets around.
All of which are really catchy, really fun, and a little bit camp.
Yes.
A little bit camp. But yeah. Him do some work.
He's gonna be the last one from. They'll just AI slopify it all after that.
I really hope not. But yeah, like AI honestly is great as a toy at the moment, but that's kind of where it needs to stop.
It is. It has not and it will not. It has already weasels its way into business.
Well, the thing is
Uh,
that where it got to as a toy, it got there by grand larceny, right? Like all of what makes it what it is pillaged from people who are actually creative. Like
oh yeah,
while I have a deep distaste for the sort of like accusing everything of being AI culture that has sprung up, particularly in art communities, the reality is that they have a point of sorts, and it's that everything that AI is stolen.
yes.
Yeah.
That's just its nature. That's how it works.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah.
nobody's going to pay any consequences for this. Never mind that it's the wealthiest companies in the world who are leveraging and creating these AIs, and they're probably the self-same companies who are going to furiously DMCA the crap out of people whenever they have the opportunity.
Oh my yes, they have investor capital.
Which is like a level of sort of universe cosmos shaking hypocrisy that is heretofore unheard of.
Yup. It also completely frees them from consequences.
Yep.
At any rate, if you'd like to get involved with the show, you can do so by sending us an email at noexcusesvtw@gmail.com. You can follow us on the Twitter at noexcusesvtw, or you can join us in the Discord server, which you can get to by clicking on the link provided in the show description underneath the archived version of the show on YouTube.
There were no emails
Yes.
when I checked 30 minutes ago.
All right, that's all right. So I suppose we should jump in to do some weeks.
Fern can do that while I go find a beer. Because orcs.
Boom, boom.
Oh,
Didgeridoo.
I'm just flicking through and looking at what could potentially be news this week and Marvel Rivals. What have you been doing? No, I don't want to see that.
I don't know.
They did a America Day Captain America skin, which is skin tight lycra.
Isn't that what all Marvel heroes wear though?
Yes, but they don't all have incredibly detailed bulges.
I mean,
David Bowie would be
Like-
proud. Why? I mean, Marvel Rivals makes no secret that its designs are gooner friendly, but at least they goon evenly, I suppose.
The only
This is a
good
goon
thing
for the
about
ladies.
Marvel, the only good thing about Marvel Rivals is the sheer amount of humiliation they dealt to Blizzard.
Oh my yes, I don't mind the game. It's fun in short bursts, but yeah,
It is still
just
slop though. Like
it is still
I
slop.
don't want. I don't want to hear like criticisms from the Marvel Rivals players against people who play like Genshin or whatever because they are both slop.
They are both slop and they are both goonery. You're playing the same games, guys. So yeah, as for my week, it's been a quiet one again. I'm going into next week anyway. Next weekend is the first of the Drunk Cowboy apocalypse. But until then, I'm getting back into Monster Hunter Stories 3 again.
good job.
And trying to get through that. And I did what I always do, and I figured, hey, there's a monster I want to tame, put on my team. I'm going to chase it. I spent too long chasing Nibblesnarf around the map because Nibblesnarf has not been in a Monster Hunter game since 3 Ultimate.
Which is shameful considering it is the monster with the most amusing name.
It is. It is. It has the most fun name to say. It is also Cephadrome, except better.
It sounds like
everything
it, could be,
Cephadrome is.
it sounds like a character from a Roald Dahl book.
It does, doesn't it? It could very well be, because it's basically a fish with a giant mouth and an enormous uvula running around in a desert. It also has an underwater cousin as well, which I'm actually forgetting its name of at the moment. Global, that's what the underwater one was called. Same model, but it lives under the water. But it also has one of probably the most brutal animations in Monster Hunter 3. It just straight up swallows things. It's brutal. But anyway, yeah, turns out that Capcom apparently hates Jerd Then, yes, 3rd gen. Because it turns out that even though it's out in the field, like a regular monster that you could tame, it is the only monster in the game you cannot add as a monster.
Why?
Because reasons, I guess.
It just seems really weird to have just one example.
Yeah, like I think most of the bosses you can even add as a monster. I know you can get Magnamalo, and our Modron shows up as a boss.
Is it like in the class of things like the ones that are little versions of the drones, or
In terms of mechanics?
No, like
it's.
Well, I mean, sort of like classification wise, because I've never seen a nibble snaff. I don't know what it.
Its biggest catch. Its biggest catch is that once you take it away from sand or mud, it kind of stops working as a concept because it spends 90% of its time under the dirt.
I see.
So it's like I said, it's like Cephadrome. Cephadrome is honestly, in my opinion, the worst monster in the series.
Yeah, I don't think it's very close either.
No, like
it's just basically it's a walking flounder.
Yeah, it's even worse than the yuckfish. Like as far as monster mechanics go, the dromes, was it Velocidrome? That's what you go with, the basicest one. It is very vanilla. It bites, it swipes, and that's about all Velocidrome does.
I feel
That's
like
all
you need a
Velocidrome is
Velocidrome.
supposed to do. You do.
Like Velocidrome is like one standard unit dinosaur.
Yeah. But everything needs that, and Velocidrome doesn't try to be anything more than that. Cephadrome does. It tries to be like the under sand ambush predator type deal, but it's just so lame.
But that's all it
It's
does.
so
It just sort of comes out of the ground and then looks at you with a slightly dorky expression on its face, like, like, are you going to do something now? Like, I've surprised you. Are you surprised yet?
Yeah, because that's half the thing. It pops out of the ground and it doesn't do anything else. Then you bonk it and it falls over. So yeah, Cephadrome is just the worst. So yeah, I'm very very disappointed that Nibblesnarf is not in that is actually playable in the game, and it's very very disappointing. I grabbed the DLC. I haven't actually reached it yet. I'm kind of stuck in a part of the game where I'm out in the wilderness and I can't go back to a cities yet. So you
Do
need
you
to
have
be able to
Bagel
go back to a
Goose?
city. That's the thing I need to check. Does Bagel Goose appear in the DLC?
Like, because if there's no Bagel Goose, I'm
Then
not
what's the
in.
point?
Like, Bagel Goose was like my favorite. I used him all the time. Like, I had all of these
Yeah,
other sort of like Elder Dragon tier things, but the one who was a bro who was always there for me was Bagel Goose.
it's always Bagel Goose. He's such a bro and he just turns up out of absolutely nowhere. Let's see. I'm wondering if these wiki lists have actually been updated with the DLC yet. Probably not, because it's only come out a couple of days ago. Nah, doesn't look like it. But Namiel's in the game. They remember Namiel exists.
I feel like Namiel, if Namiel was a monster that sort of appeared at the stage of the game like Teostra, it would have been a lot more impressive. The problem was that by the time Namiel was added to the game, everybody had an absolutely cracked set of gear.
Yeah, so Namiel kind of just got stomped and forgotten.
Like, it's a really pretty monster with an interesting design and interesting mechanics. You're just never going to see any of them play out.
Yeah. Let's see. What other ones they got in here? Odogo's in there. Raknakadaki's in there. If you feel like riding around on a giant spider.
What about the
Gossarang
Mecha
is
one?
apparently playable.
We have
The
never
Mecha
seen
one?
the Mecha one come back again, have we? You know,
No.
it's like it uses threads to build a robot around itself.
Yeah, it's a praying mantis that builds a robot with Dragonators.
Is that like a real monster, or is it like the whatchamacallit, there's that fringe branch of the franchise where the monsters are all a little bit whack?
I think that one was in 4. I want to say 4. It was in the mainline game, if I recall correctly.
Why do
But
they
yeah,
bring that guy back instead of freaking Liao Shenlong?
Lao Shen Lung makes an appearance in Stories 3 as well, by the way. It's dead, but it's there.
What's his name? The snake,
Oh,
Dalamadur or whatever he's called.
Dalamadur. No, Dalamadur. No, he's not yet. I could
Has
probably
he
just
ever
spoil that.
reappeared in any context?
No. He has that big, massive arena fight in, I think that was 4 as well, which was
Why does
really,
4
really
do all the
cool.
cool ones?
Because 4 was kind of like the swan song of, well, 4 and Generations was kind of the swan song of old Monster Hunter. Generations in particular. Actually, I think the Mantis was in Generations. So it's kind of like the all stars of Monster Hunter, old school Monster Hunter. Honestly, if you want to go and see what Monster Hunter was like before World changed the system, formula up a bit, go play Generations. It's really, really good.
Yeah,
There are only really a handful of monsters in the Monster Hunter games that I've played that I really love.
Yeah.
Like there are so many concepts that seem really cool in the older ones that just don't seem to get revisited, and instead we get, you know, really banal crap going back. Like
Yuckfish.
amongst like the greats of World, like I like Nergigante a lot because he actually conveys attitude somehow.
He
And
does.
similarly, I like Malzeno for the same sort of reason. But most of the others I'm pretty blah about. Like, who cares about Somnicanth?
Nobody cares. Oh, Somnicanth in Stories 3 is the worst. Because it will just, in a 2-turn combo, it will knock your entire team into sleep, and then it will just one-shot someone. That's
That's
its
not very polite.
cycle. It's incredibly impolite. But both versions of Somnicanth do it.
I
And
remember.
unless you have sleep resist, there's not a whole lot you can really do about it.
I remember when you
It's
tried to get me into what was the one on the Wii U?
that would have been Try Ultimate,
Yeah, we tried
Oh,
that
Try
where
for.
was
they
the
just
weird one which had all the weird extra weapons, right?
try. No, try added swimming. Try
Okay.
Ultimate
Which
took
one,
swimming out again.
which one had the really a bunch of like freakish extra weapons that they never used again?
That was Frontiers, I believe, which is kind of the
They had like
start of the wacky side tangent ones.
they had like weird magnetic tonfas and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, the Magna Hook. Honestly, I want to play with the Magna Hook. It just looks so dumb.
Yeah, but these days they'd make that the freaking gimmick for an entire expansion or some stupid crap like that.
Yes, they would. Though Tonfas, honestly, I think have a place. Hammer's kind of in that place already, but for a quick blunt
Well, if
weapon,
they would
Tonfas would work.
ever stop changing them, maybe. Ara still has
Maybe.
master rights here.
Oh, I will.
Yeah.
I'm screen.
Yeah, I think there's room for one more blunt weapon because currently you've got the hunting horn and you've got the hammer, and that's it. Everything else is either piercing or slashing. So we need more blunt. One more bonking weapon, please. So yeah, Stories 3 is good. The story is a bit bland. It's there. It's not bad. It's not good. It's just there. Honestly, actually, I found Stories 2 to have a more engaging stories at this point.
I thought two story was surprisingly impressive.
It was. But after they kind of get through the first chapter of Stories 1, you spend a lot of time just kind of traveling and going from place A to place B and figuring out what you're supposed to be doing with that nothing's actually happening.
Trying not to strangle Naviru.
Thankfully, Navarro is only in the expansion content now. Rudy is significantly less Navarro. He even looks like a normal feline mostly. He's a little bit off, but he's not too bad. Not like Navarro, who's just a straight up mutant. Yeah. It's good. It's still a good game, but Stories 2 was, at least in terms of writing, better. At least so far. Maybe they'll pull it out in the closing bits of the game. I don't know. All right. That has been about my week. It hasn't been a whole lot. All I do is work these days, and it's annoying. Or sit down and watch HoloLive play the latest Friend Slop game.
I am really starting to hate the word slop. It exists.
It is a little bit
Yeah,
overused, but the main reason it's overused is that so many things
there-
are.
there's a lot of slop. Yeah, like the calling it the Friend Slop genre just kind of fits. That I think everyone's been looking for a name for the genre for a while, and that just kind of popped up.
Yeah,
It's
it's been the de facto terminology for some time now. But the thing is that I know people that play these things, and like they're the sort of people who 10 years ago they would have been like the people who decided to adopt like geek culture as an identity, like de novo without like growing into it organically. Like they're the people that were playing that type of thing.
Yep.
And
Like,
yeah, the thing is that like they're always like weird pseudo indie outings, which the second one of them takes off, there are 5 million clones.
Yep. But for the most part, they're just like quick, cheaply produced games. They've got a fun, goofy premise usually. The sort of thing that if you've got a bunch of mates together, you buy, you play for a weekend, and then you never pick up again.
It is like I think of them as the epitome of like your streamer bait games.
Yeah, they are streamer.
The thing is, it sort of it feels like viscerally generational to me. Like because when I was in school, we would play Diablo 2.
Yep.
We wouldn't like get one game and just play it for one weekend. No, we would play Diablo 2 at Diablo 2 lands and have multiple Diablo 2 lands.
And
Yep.
you would stick with the game for years, plural.
Most of my experience with LAN parties is you arrive there and then everyone spends half the night trying to get the whole thing to actually work.
That was what it was like at the first one that we held when I was in fifth form. I don't know what fifth form is in Americanese. But after the shambles there, where I was the only one who decided to bring like 4 extra multi-boards and 2 extension cables because I knew everyone else was a freaking clown. After that, like I recognized, okay, so actually this needs somebody who can organize on a sort of like a non-selfish level to make this thing actually work. So I went out of my way to ensure that, you know, we had surplus power outlets, we had surplus network cables, we had somebody there who knew how to network for each of the OSs involved, that type of thing. You can't just hold a LAN party in a vacuum.
No, and even if you plan it perfectly, you'll get there on the day and someone's computer will break.
Oh yeah, that
Just
happened
out of the
every
loop.
time.
Every
Like
time.
my most heavily planned LAN party that I hosted personally, somebody actually decided to investigate what the voltage switch on the back of their power supply did.
Oh,
Hey,
how many
why would you
components?
touch that?
How many components do they blow
I
out?
don't know. They blew out the entire computer.
Yeah, that would kill
The
your
ho-
computer
the whole-
completely.
The whole thing was unsalvageable.
Yeah,
It was just a
But,
plume of
dude.
sparks, and that was it.
dude. Dude is all you can say. Just, yeah. Those switches no longer exist on power supplies for the most part, thankfully.
For good reason.
They are not supposed to be touched. But that was like the jank of early 2000s computers. Is just things. Like, you remember the days when computers had a turbo button on the front? I'm really aging myself here. The turbo button that didn't actually do anything.
Oh no! If you go back a few years before that, the turbo button did do things.
It
But
did.
it was functionally, though, it was the opposite of a turbo button. It slowed the clock down. It didn't.
Please
speed it up.
hold.
Please hold.
Oh, I'm AFK for a sec.
Okay, so yeah, it kind of got to a point where that nobody even bothered with it. So the turbo button would turn on a light, and that's it.
Well, the reason why the turbo button existed, though, was for programs that were built against the CPU clock.
Yes.
And so you needed some way to tune down the CPU clock during the transition period where things had timing in the abstract, rather than timing against the CPU speed.
It is very interesting to go back and play some of those games now on modern systems. They don't work so good, but they're very, very entertaining. Everything just goes zoom. There's nothing you can do about it. The game is impossible.
Speaking of dredging up the past,
oh no,
you didn't give us any report on how Bubsy went in the end.
I fell off it because it was like there, and that was it. It's like, okay, this is a competent platformer. And what else am I going to do now?
You weren't enraptured by the Bubsy mythos?
I was not. That's the problem. It's like, it's not good, but it's not offensively or entertainingly bad either. It's just competent.
Well, it's sort of memorable primarily for the fact that it was like it was a mascot by committee.
Oh yeah, but honestly, it's this game. It is doomed by faint praise. It really is. It's a competently produced game in a series that is famous for being just awful.
The sort of game that you would find in a cereal box.
Yeah. Actually, I got Age of Empires out of a cereal box after my original copy broke, so I'm not going to complain about that. I wore my original Age of Empires CD out completely, and just as I did that, came out of a cereal box. There we go. There's a new one.
Mine, you can actually hold it up to the light and see through it.
Yeah.
But the Age of Empires was a bit special because Microsoft was a bit special. They didn't really know how to handle creative assembly. They just was it Ensemble? I can't remember. They didn't really know what to do, and they did a whole bunch of weird stuff. Even right up through AoE 2, when AoE as a franchise had become established, they still didn't know what they were doing. Like,
Yeah.
for instance, do you remember the Conquerors expansion?
I did.
At least that
yeah.
it existed. It's got Korea in it, right? As one of the
Yeah.
races. There's a reason why Korea is in it, even though the Koreans weren't conquerors per se,
I did
and all
wonder
of the other
about
races
that.
were. Yeah, the reason is, according to Sandy Peterson, who posts some interesting stuff despite being a Mormon. I think he's a Mormon. The reason was that they had a really good design doc, and they had everything set up, and they had a overstaffed team because of some other sort of argy-bargy that had taken place previously. So they were working really quickly compared to normal, and they finished all of the work required for the Conquerors 5 weeks early. And then Peterson got called into the XX office, and the execs were like, we want you to add Korea. And Peterson's like, what do you mean you want me to add Korea? And the execs are like, well, in Korea there are 3 million people playing StarCraft. And
Oh. Yeah.
Peterson is like, well, there aren't any Koreans in StarCraft. and he recounts thinking that this seemed like a watertight argument to him. And the execs replied, yeah, that's true, but there are 3 million Koreans playing StarCraft. Are still there. Asteroids here. And so he was like, okay, so okay, whatever. We'll try and add Korea, but what resourcing are you going to give us for this? And they're like, what do you mean resourcing? You've got 5 weeks left.
That sounds about right.
So this is basically how the development of the Korean civilization and AoE 2 went.
If I remember, they had just really wonky bonuses too.
At this particular point, they were actually like they were really glad that they had finished 5 weeks early, because sort of like the early stages of AoE 3 had already started and they needed to get onto it.
Yep.
And yeah, that basically got completely forestalled because, oh my goodness, 3 million people play StarCraft. And AoE 2 basically sold the same amount as would be expected for any East Asian territory in fact, because
that's
StarCraft
right.
was sort of like lightning in a bottle type of thing. Not like there's nothing unique about RTS that means that it's going to sell well in Korea. It just happened to do so. But according to Peterson, Microsoft was planning for this to be a StarCraft phenomenon. So they had created these like 10 disc bundles sort of thing to sell to the net cafes, thinking that it was just going to be the biggest hit ever. And unsurprisingly, they didn't get bought.
Yeah, here we go. That's right, I remember now. Korea was all about tower spam. That's basically what their strategy burned down to. Towers for days.
Yeah, apparently, according to him, they made some boo-boos due to the rush, and a lot of those things caused some problems early on, like the Korean campaign referring to the Sea of Japan as the Sea of Japan, which is a no-no in Korea.
Yes.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Executive middling ho.
Those were the fun days when Microsoft was actually creative is probably not the right word. Interesting. Let's go with that.
Nowadays, they sell off Bungie to Sony for like a massive amount of money, and then Sony halves the staff
Yeah,
because
it's okay.
something
Bungie won't be an issue
reasons.
for much longer at this rate.
Well, is there anybody left working for them? I can't even figure that one out because it just seems like a layoff after layoff after layoff.
It does, doesn't it? Like they've put the pin into Destiny 2 now, and Marathon it's kind of just there.
It exists. I don't think it's ever going to be popular.
No, it's really not. Like its aesthetic is just awful. I hate the aesthetic.
There are people
There's
that
nothing.
like it, but it's like a boutique aesthetic in what was supposed to be a mainstream game. Like if it was an indie game, it would have like a small knot of really hardcore fans who praised it to the rafters, and they wouldn't have spent $1 gajillion making it. But yeah, you don't really want to go for like a boutique aesthetic in a game that is designed to have the maximum amount of mass appeal.
Yeah, like it's very divisive, and half of it was stolen at the in the beginning, so there's that to it too. So yeah, like Bungie's still there for now. I don't think they're going to be there again, or still there in 12 months at this rate.
Can we do Blizzard next?
Blizzard at this point is still too big to fail. Like, doesn't matter how terribly they fall over, they're going to still be propped up by World of Warcraft.
Can we do Blizzard
I'm
next?
I'm still sort of a bit surprised at the longevity that World of Warcraft continues to experience, considering what they're producing is so bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I know I'm sort of biased to some extent. I mean, everybody is, but it does seem to me like they've almost ceased to iterate on the formula in what I would call a meaningful way.
Yep. Well, the formula for Dragonflight was the same formula they used for next one, War Within, and then now they're using the same formula again for Midnight, whatever it was called. It's just the exact same thing, just run in a loop. And it's not a expansion by expansion loop. It's a major patch by major patch loop. So you start the patch, you go out, you get the freebie epic gear, which is like a 0.5 tier set. Then you jump into the looking for group raids, get your basic gear. You'll get that in a couple of weeks, usually, because they just throw tokens at you for being there. So you've got your tier gear now, and okay, what do you do next? Now you try and upgrade it. And then you spend the rest of the expansion just making number go bigger.
The
Yeah.
it's hard to explain quantitatively the effect of people that just get addicted to the open world MMO and they haven't broken it the first time. Because I just know that sensation is what holds people on WoW forever. Gets familiar.
Yeah.
And you can't imagine life without
Well,
the thing you do every day anymore.
Functionally just sunk cost fallacy writ large. But yeah, it's I don't know if we'll ever see it again, but due to the sort of the new era that we're in, not new anymore, new as if it's like only 30 years old, of like mass information distribution sort of thing. So there can, in some sense, be no mythos surrounding anything.
Yeah.
Like there's no where is Mancrick's wife anymore, because everybody knows exactly how to get that information.
They won't.
And yeah, in the case where your game doesn't just Ubisoft you right to it.
Yeah.
The era of the old MMO can't exist in the era where the optimal way and location to do everything is posted minute one, day one. That's something I've pointed out before and have been saddened about. You can't do it anymore. There is no organically figuring stuff out because you'll need to do the optimal thing if you want to be considered for groups.
I think that my favorite micro investigation of this issue, it was actually in Log Horizon. the thing with the dub that Ari loves so very much because Nyanda sounds like a basketballer. The being that okay, so this is one of those everybody gets sucked into a game dealies that were so popular, a couple decades ago. Yes, really. Uh, the scenario there is that the fast travel system in that setting worked on a very complex algorithm that was cracked by the players during the early stages of the game, and basically the way the network worked was on like Wowhead type sites. Like they would have a tool to help you use the fast travel to navigate to particular locations. Except everybody got sucked into the game. Nobody has the internet anymore. So
So nobody knew what the hell was going on.
so they in order to initiate fast travel using the fairy rings, they had to basically crack it using pen and paper again from scratch when the knowledge had long been lost because everybody was using tools.
Yeah.
And this actually resulted in the formation of nation states in the game because nobody could easily move from place to place.
Log Horizon does so much interesting.
Yeah, but then the author got caught for tax evasion, so
Yeah. Yeah. There's always that.
Based.
it seems to happen for authors so often that I feel like maybe the tax code is just so complicated that people evade it by accident.
Possible.
I mean, I can imagine that happening in some countries. Tax codes seem to be deliberately obtuse.
Yep, they are. There's a reason you have to pay somebody to do your taxes in America. The government knows exactly how much you owe them, but they're not going to tell you. They're going to make you figure it out yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, you're playing the game, but we're not going to tell you what the rules are.
Anyway, we're still on
Yeah.
Fern's week.
That's really about it for my week. It was something I watched, but I can't honestly remember for the life of me what it was. So it can't have been that important.
All right. Well, I had to run away briefly because people were screaming for me outside. Because
Was this? Oh, right. This is Murica screaming. Okay.
Well, this was my mom overheated
bring it
herself,
together.
and yeah, this was my mom overheated herself in the hot tub watching fireworks and needed my help getting out. Yes, they are.
That is so like excessively opulent.
I know,
It
right?
is, isn't it?
It's this makes me feel like a Slav living in Siberia.
Like you want to know how redneck opulent it is though? The hot tub's heater doesn't work, so you can only use it in the summer.
And how does she overheat in it?
Because she's my mother, and it's 100 degrees outside today, or it was. It's down to like the 80s and dropping because it's nighttime now. But
That's
You get your electrician guy to take a look.
I probably could, but I'm not gonna get Nick to come out and do that. He's busy as it is. He's also gonna charge me for it if I was to do that.
And you also don't want to have to help your mother out of the tub in the winter as well.
Yes.
yeah.
So, all right. I guess I'll take it from Fern's week, because he can still bounce off some of the stuff I got. I have a few warnings for him if he decides to play Yakuza 8. Although most of them won't be super relevant because you're not going to go for completion.
Okay.
But
So how much of this do I need to stick my ears, fingers in my ears and go la 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 for?
I'm not going to talk about the main story at all.
Okay, good.
So, all right. So before that, though, where is it? Where is it? Edit. There it is. So I decided to go ahead and I'd already pretty much decided I was going to do it. It was a matter of when last week, um, on getting a new PC. Um, and so I just hunted around for the best pricing on parts. And they're going to be showing up throughout the month. So I'll have a new PC built, and I got my sister and her boyfriend to agree to pay for my 1,100 for my old.
Don't play with the voltage switch on the back of the power supply.
Yeah, don't do that. So I threw the PC part.
Stick with whatever you guys use. You'll use like 115 or something in the US. I don't even fucking remember.
Yeah, it's 115, 120 coming in the houses. Don't flip
No
it
wonder
too.
it takes so. No wonder Americans don't use freaking kettles.
We have, yeah, we have 240 and 460 volt stuff, but generally household stuff isn't plugged into those. So Ryzen 7 9800 X3D, MSI Mag B50 Tomahawk Wi-Fi motherboard. Ignore the memory on there. I went with 32 gigs. That was just me price checking it when I saved the price check. But I was curious what 64 would look like in pricing. The answer is holy crap.
Yep.
But no,
I can't recommend it, especially when you don't have a use case for that latter 32 gigs.
Yeah, no, I
Unless
got
you're planning to do a lot of video work, like editing. Are we going to become a video show?
no. So I got 32
Yeah.
gigs. The 64 on the picker was just because I saved it when I was checking the prices on it out of curiosity.
Did you make sure to use a tool to check the memory compatibility with the motherboard?
Yeah,
Because it's gotten more and more hazy as time has gone on.
yeah, I did. In fact,
I never used to bother because it's totally not necessary in the past.
mm-hmm.
But now you pretty much can't risk not doing it.
Yeah, and even if you did make a mistake, that's used to not be a significant cost fix. You just get different RAM, but nowadays that's a problem.
RAM used to be so easy to replace; you could just do it.
Oh yeah, I've got DDR4 RAM sticks everywhere.
Yeah, I'm still running on DDR4. Actually, I need to upgrade at some
So
point.
am I had to spend a huge amount of money to get more because my motherboard won't take anything more than that.
If I've known you're
Yep,
still
my
on,
memory controller is so good on my current CPU that it's more efficient to just keep using it unless I want to rebuild my whole computer in a single run, and I don't really feel like doing that. I just
I'm
don't
at roughly the same point.
I don't have the use case for it yet, so
Yeah.
got a
Next time I do an upgrade, I'm going to have to do a rebuild because it'll need new motherboard, new CPU, and new RAM, and it just goes on from there. So it'll be a rebuild.
the biggest reason I went for the full rebuild is the case.
because I got you all hyped discussing it last week.
Also that.
Well, no, the reason I didn't just like upgrade the graphics card to the CPU because the case has been a ginormous problem, and I'm not entirely sure that PCIe slot will survive removal from the case because of how wedged
What
in
did
there.
you do to it?
The case did not list the appropriate amount of clearance that it had for the GPU, so it's so
I
tight
never buy a
in there.
case unless the clearance is on the box.
Well, it listed it, but it was wrong. It was off by about 10 millimeters. So my GPU it doesn't even need a bracket. It's just wedged against one of the front fans, and the fans are flush with the front of the case, and it is
That's
so
not good.
no, and it's so tight it will not move.
That's like negative good points, bro.
Yeah, no, not good. So that was because I am terrified that taking anything out of this current build is going to destroy that PCIe slot.
This is going to turn to dust.
I had to go for the full rebuild, which kind of works because I can sell the whole PC as is, and I've already informed my sister and her boyfriend: do not, whatever you do, attempt to replace the GPU.
Yeah.
So yeah, and they were in the market to buy it right now anyway. Um, so so the parts will be here throughout the month. Um, I'll get it up and running. I haven't decided what OS I'm going to stick on the stupid thing.
Yeah, that was
Well,
one of the
there's
reasons that I was holding off, was because I was like, I wonder if how long do I need to hold off before Steam OS becomes NVIDIA compatible?
yeah, or you can just switch over to AMD if you've got the money.
I don't really
But
want to. There's no point in upgrading if you're not going to use ray tracing. Like
very
if I'm
true.
just going to stick, if I'm just going to stick to rasterization, then there's no reason for me to upgrade my computer at all, since all of the overhead required is for ray tracing. Like you just
Yeah.
don't need a powerful graphics card to do rasterization unless you're planning to do it at 4K. And I don't want to spend money on a 4K monitor because it will come down in price. It's not like RAM. You don't use monitors in data centers.
Yeah, and honestly, I can't tell the difference between 1440p and uh, and 4K most of the
Well,
time.
it's in my opinion, 4K is for like 50 plus inch displays that at like 2 meters away from you, sort of thing.
Yeah,
yeah. On a smaller monitor, the difference is negligible.
yeah. I've been
I know there's people out there who will disagree with that and say it is the everything, but no, it's really not.
But yeah, I've been thinking about this for several months before Vol started getting hyped about it. But when he was talking about it, I was like, yeah, I might want to go ahead and just do that now. Only going to get worse.
It is.
Probably wouldn't have done any. Wouldn't have bothered to go into the fine detail if Woo had deployed a patch that didn't freaking break my graphics card.
So this
The adding the extra RAM in basically solved the memory leaks, but the fact that it went from day to night basically meant that it's still leaking.
so yeah. And the big thing is the 16 gigs of video RAM 5080 I've paid to cram in this thing. That's where the money went.
And now you can play Cyberpunk on full settings.
I know.
Now that you finished the game.
Was able to run it on mostly high settings, but as usual with those type of games, sometimes you just got to kill the shadows and the foliage density. I have to do that in Wuwa.
I have my foliage turned up to max. It's actually very interesting. Like when you spend as much time as we do mowing the lawn, and by that I mean literally in this case, you might as well put all the grass in.
Fern, you don't know about it yet, but there is some grass in La Roy that is very fun to just sit there and mow.
I see.
And it respawns.
It's like cleaning up sand in the desert room all over again.
Not quite. It's more you can just make fun patterns in the grass and it'll regrow within about 12 seconds.
You're drawing dicks, aren't you?
We're drawing whatever the
Well, most characters have a sort of like a characteristic pattern that their attack cycle will draw in the ground that's unique to them.
Pretty cool.
and most of them are like recognizable shapes.
Not just random swirlies.
Well, the thing is that when they develop the characters' animation sets, they actually go out of their way to have the attack pattern look like something. Like in the era before the mowable grass, they were just in the particle effects, like Shorekeepers draws like a heart sort of thing.
Yep. You know they got mowable grass I can play with.
And they upgrade the grass every single patch as well. Like it's sort of becoming a bit of a meme. Like there's like this guy in the office clearly who does nothing but work on grass physics all day, every day. And there was a meme that they didn't mention the grass in the 3.5 patch preview. And then they spent all the time talking about bamboo instead. And then somebody looked up, actually, guys, bamboo is a type of grass, technically.
Yeah.
So all of that bamboo tech that they introduced, technically, that's just more grass tech.
It is very fancy grass.
Yeah. So yeah, it is just
grass guy.
It is just a bog standard upgrade that I would normally do around this time. If
Except it
you,
costs you 4 times as much as
yeah,
normal.
except it was 4 times as much as it normally would cost, which is why doing it now before it gets worse, and B, while I got somebody to buy the old PC, was a workable time. So in a way, I'm glad Vol brought it to the forefront of my brain, because there is no way if I waited till the end of the year this would be any better.
I keep all of my old computers. I've got so many lying around now that I could probably set up a computer in every room in my house.
That would be an interesting concept.
I have like I have like 5 in the room with me right now.
I generally will try to sell off the old PC or reuse it somewhere else. One of my old PCs is in the flippin' office right now. Another one got sold to my cousin, and then this one's getting sold to my sister and her boyfriend. I'm not sure which one of them's taking it.
Yeah,
Waffle House
I've kind of got
Rockstar.
a. Oh, yes, I've kind of got a grandfather's axe problem going on at the moment. It's also why I need to do the reveal at some point.
The longer
Like,
the longer you wait, the worse it's going to get.
yeah.
Well, we
I
don't
think I-
know that. That's the thing. Like that's a reasonable bet. That's a perfectly reasonable bet to make. But it is still a bet. We don't actually know what's going to happen.
Let's see.
Things usually get worse, and that's why it's a good bet. But we don't know if the whole data center debacle is just going to like implode tomorrow.
It's true.
Which it very well could be. We don't know.
And given my history with buying PC components,
Oh yeah, you doomed up the entire mass AI data center system, haven't you?
yeah, I've set a time bomb
Well,
under those things.
You did everybody a huge favor. The history books will be singing songs in praise of you for doing so.
It actually works out that way. My I translated how much it cost me into New Zealand dollars: 6,566 New Zealand dollars.
Yeah, bro, I'm not gonna spend that much money, and it's gonna there's gonna be a small local market surcharge on top of that.
Yeah, it's 5,411 Australia bucks.
Dollary dues to you.
Dollary dues, thank you.
Australia bucks.
Australia bucks. Yeah, expensive. Yes, necessary. Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, time will tell.
Is there
I will
any
tell.
way that you can have a citizens referendum to change your currency to dollary dues?
It's been tried in the past, but it hasn't really gone anywhere.
The
Yeah.
only line of that stupid orc song that I listened to has been stuck in my head all week. Boom, boom, boom. Didgeridoo, Daka all the way.
Ducker all the way.
So yeah. So it's a done deal now. I've pulled the trigger on it. I'm selling the old PC for 1,150. What is 1150 USD to Australia bucks? 1,659 Australia bucks.
That feel when you don't have to pay the rent.
And 2,013 New Zealand bucks. How much I'm selling the old PC for?
I can't think of anybody who'd spend that much on a computer that I have in my life.
Yeah. I don't see any real need to do a mass computer upgrade anytime soon at the moment. Not unless there's going to be some big technological shift that suddenly means we have to.
Yeah.
That's actually relatively likely for a variety of reasons. Particularly as far as GPU tech is concerned, and a couple of other things. There are some like major technological shifts in the work, or that are like, you know, a shift that is higher tier sort of potential change than something like ray tracing, in terms of the way things are done. There are a few bits and pieces. I mean, certainly Nvidia is going to be at the forefront of that, but you know they're kind of a bit ossified and not really interested in the consumer market. There are several third-party competitors who are licensing various bits of tech to bring out competing graphics cards, and they've actually got various dies in that have been prepared and so on for entering that market. They're going to have to enter it at the bottom because the drivers get more difficult the higher up you go. But yeah, there's various people entering the market with a view towards trying to be more economical than Nvidia.
Yeah.
And I would like to be able to encourage competition if it is at all practical to do so.
You know they're going to get stomped on, though, don't you?
I mean, that depends. The thing is that if this was 10 years ago, then I'd say, yeah, definitely. Because Nvidia's doing it to everybody. But Nvidia have just totally lost interest in the consumer market now.
Yeah, there's a big old
So maybe they simply won't care.
Yeah, there's a big old hole in the market right now that needs filling, and it's the mid-range GPU market. Like even the high-end GPU market needs somebody in there that can be price competitive. You know, if somebody
at this point, it's just the consumer market, really.
Yeah, all of it. Like if somebody can get in there and be competitive, and not care about the myth of infinite growth, and just be happy to fill that slot. I mean, there's money to be made.
Yeah, there is definitely money to be made.
Like if they have the ability and the know-how to do so, yeah, that you can make some dosh off that.
I think that there are lots and lots of industries like that across every conceivable sector in the world right now, where all it's going to take is somebody to realize that the only reason they're doing things a particular way is because everybody else is, and they'll change it, and then they'll conquer the market. And I think we're sort of getting to the point where industries across all sectors are ripe for somebody to do this because everybody's just playing from the same playbook.
Yeah. So yeah, once all the parts get here, because hunting for the best prices on everything took forever and meant it's coming from all over the place. The GPU came in, and it was not a brick. I did open the box to check.
Well, so long as you're not buying from AliExpress.
Yeah. But yeah, that will, believe it or not, I actually got the GPU discounted on Amazon, and it was an Asus model for the GPU. I wanted to get an MSI one because the MSI cards have been good to me in the past. I've won the Silicon Valley.
Don't do that.
Okay.
MSI have been riddled with major issues for the past like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Like really major issues. Like your computer is permanently open to hackers from a hardware level type of issues.
I see.
Yeah, so that's a don't.
But yeah. So couldn't get that anyway. So wound up getting an Asus one instead.
Asus are not much better. On a 10-point scale, if MSI is a 3, Asus are about a 4.5.
Yeah, better, but not great. Not a lot.
They do release firmware upgrades for things sometimes. So
sometimes, like I think I've got an Asus motherboard, and I can't remember the last time I saw a firmware upgrade come through for that.
How often do you check your motherboard firmware upgrades?
Not that often, admittedly.
I updated my firmware on my Asus motherboard the other day.
Yeah, I think mine's a bit older, so I don't think they're actually releasing them anymore.
Well, mine's 4 years old, and they released one a couple months ago, so...
Maybe. Yeah, generally you don't need to update your motherboard firmware unless something starts going wrong.
Well, no, the thing is that usually when it comes to Asus motherboards, the upgrades are security issues due to hardware level vulnerabilities. So
true.
It's just generally a good idea.
So yeah. So I'll have that put together sometime later in the month, and we'll be goofing around with it, and seeing how pretty we can make WUWA and stuff. But
make sure you check your BIOS that your RAM timings are correct, because sometimes you need to retrain your motherboard when you put sticks in these days.
Yeah,
it's sort of like going from like the PS2 generation of consoles to going to the PS5 generation for consoles, where nothing is simple anymore. You can't just plug and play. You have to do a whole bunch of fiddling about now.
Yeah,
there's a lot of combinations of RAM and motherboard these days. There's a reasonably even chance that it's just going to operate at default settings when you turn it on, which means the slowest conceivable speed.
Yeah, and you got to load the right profile on the motherboard BIOS. I had to do that with the
Yep.
current PC.
That may or may not be enough, depending on your hardware. Sometimes you will even normal users sometimes have to adjust the voltage now. It's really ridiculous.
It is, and like using a AMD motherboard, sometimes every now and again there will be something that says this whole Windows feature or whatever will not work unless you go in and change this buried and obscure setting on your motherboard BIOS. It makes zero change otherwise. So anyway, that's that, I suppose.
Yeah, that should keep me good for a while and not have me sweating that my GPU and the fan that is not originally attached to it, but attached by literal force, are going to suddenly break on me.
You have a smoke detector in your room?
Yeah.
Your office? Okay, good. Because everything above a 5070, there's a non-zero chance the power cable will melt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's here. It's not news yet. I'll talk more about it when it gets here. I do have to flip and decide on an OS though, and I need to get Ibu to help me reset up the stupid router thing for wireless VR.
You just wait for the Steam one.
That's true.
You can wait for the Steam one, but it's not that hard. If once you get Steam hooked up and you quit your virtual desktop installed, it basically just goes now. So it's not hard.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, if you're waiting for Steam OS as well anyway.
yeah. So I could load Windows 10 on the thing, but it's gonna hassle me to upgrade to Windows 11 nonstop.
That's one of the biggest reasons that I put off updating PCs, is because I don't want to go through the experience of rebuilding my install from scratch.
I can transfer a goodly bit of it, but I mean, all the games installed and stuff, that's all got to be re-downloaded. And
generally, if you because you're changing everything else, Windows is going to chuck a sad anyway. So
yeah, so I can't just clone a drive and move it.
Have M2 drives gone up by as much as RAM, or are we not quite there yet?
They're pretty rough. They're not as bad as RAM, but they're rough. They are $350 for 2 terabytes.
That's not great at all.
No.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll talk more about that as it gets built. Okay. For gaming this week, I was really busy with work in the midweek. During the early week and the late week, it wasn't so bad, but I took Friday off. So I played a lot of Yakuza 8. Just trying to push through and see where we can get with that. Let's see. We start with this. So I got started and got to Hawaii last week, and continued through the story up to chapter 8. And I have had the guide open on the other screen, as I do with Yakuza games, because there's just crap you can miss. So you keep the missables guide open at all times. This one doesn't have any missables, but it does have a ton of mini games, and remembering what all the controls and completion metrics are for all of them is a pain in the butt. So Siric's guide stays open on the mini games page. I've done all of the mini games in the game now, and I say I was playing Yakuza this week. What I really mean is I played about 10 hours of Yakuza and about 15 hours of Yakuza Animal Crossing.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah. So they just decided for the big mini game this because there's always one big mini game in each thing, and this time it is Dodoko Island, which is just Animal Crossing Yakuza Edition. Kiryu uh, finds himself knocked out, and so to rescue him, this dumb little dude in a googly eye mascot costume is like, "Oh, I should take him somewhere safe. I'll take him to my resort island," and kidnaps Ichiban to take him back to the resort island to help him get better. The story is at a contrived standstill to allow this, and he's just stuck on this island. And so Ichiban, being Ichiban, decides to help out the people that were nice, in air quotes, to him, and helps the googly eye monster and his other googly eye monster friend and the regular dude that run the island resort build it back up after literal pirates have been using it as a waste dump.
You mean
Yeah,
Majima?
probably Majima. Yeah.
No, Majima's not there. Although I would not be surprised at all if you can recruit the washbucklers to your crew in in Yakuza Pirate Edition, or if they're an enemy faction or something, or both. And you do Animal Crossing stuff on highly accelerated day timetables. So a day takes like 7 minutes of real time,
Yeah, right.
real world time, and you are given tasks to do each day that'll get you Dodoko bucks, which can be exchanged for dollars or yen, but can't not be you can't buy them with dollars or yen. You have to earn them. So and the way this place works is you slowly build up the resort. You destroy trash, you clear out areas, and you build structures at a workbench with a hammer and nails, and you can build whole buildings this way instantly with no time on them. Okay, and you plonk them down the island somewhere, and they either look pretty and will make guests happier when they pass by them, or they'll have a function. Then the guests will spend money on it, and you set up lodging for the guests, and you try to bring as many high quality guests in as you can. And as you clear out more of the island and get your rating up and your different island stats up from having different furniture and clearing out different parts of the island and defeating washbucklers, you can raise the star rating of your resort and unlock more of the island to go Animal Crossing in. And by defeat more of the washbucklers, I mean they have the jankiest. I don't know why it's so janky. They did this intentionally to be Animal Crossing style. We'll call it combat to be generous. Where you just have 3 hearts and a baseball bat, and you swing and 3 hits kills all the enemies. And it's action combat, not turn-based combat, but it's really janky casual action combat.
Is any of this actually happening, or is it all being imagined?
No, this one appears to actually be happening because Kiryu can then go and invite his party members when they show up after he gets it to a high enough star rating.
Right. So
No,
they just
So you're Kiryu now.
Oh no, yeah, Ichiban. There we go.
Ichiban. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was always kind of like at the start of 7, it was like, this is what we're doing. It's basically all in Ichiban's head. But that kind of started to fade away as the game went on.
Oh, don't worry, we'll get there.
Oh no.
They
We'll get cancer.
Yeah, we'll get there. Finish Animal Crossing first. So this is the big massive mini game. You build your resort up, and then you can just let 3 days pass and make a ton of money. Like you could do 3 rounds of the business mini game in 7, or do the business mini game or the cabaret mini game in 0, or play Dice and Cube in the Judgment games. Like there's always one giant mini game like this. And this getting your resort to 5 stars is how you unlock the orbital laser this time, since the business management minigame has been replaced with this. And yeah, this one is the same orbital laser, but now it has Dodoko Island branding all over it, and all the Dodoko characters show up when you shoot it.
Every time you say that, I think about the little fluffy things from Genshin.
Hang on. I'll get a picture.
Yeah, I need something to substitute in my brain for Dodecos as Klee knows them.
Don't. It's gonna. Okay, this picture's got both of the. Okay, that'll work. Live show chat.
Oh, no. Do I dare look?
Those googly eyes do have physics. They have.
Well, I mean,
googly-
you
The
have to have
hell is that?
It looks like something that should be living in a car wash.
It's like the Cookie Time mascot.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. Do you even have that brand outside New Zealand? I don't even freaking remember.
That's not something I'm familiar with.
We have the Gobbledoc, which is similar, I suppose.
Oh, what that is either.
It's a hairy monster that runs around screaming about chippies. It was for Smith's chips. I haven't used it in like 20 years.
So yeah, and I don't know what to tell you. It's flipping Animal Crossing. I mean, it's got its own separate completion list from the rest of the game. If you really, really want to go capture all the rare stuff on the island and fill out that completion list and play Yakuza Animal Crossing for 300 hours.
If you really want to, I suppose.
Yeah.
See, I need to find a Cookie Time ad. Here we go. Here's an advert for Cookie Time.
Thankfully, all the main game cares about yes.
That does look like it.
Thankfully for the main game completion requirements, you only need to get 100 guests and get the resort to 5-star. The rest of it.
How bizarre do the guests get?
I mean, they're literally everybody you meet in the story that you do a side quest for can become a guest. Tons of old characters
pretty
can become
wacky.
guests. All your party members can become guests. Several old party members and friends can become guests. Majima and Saijima can start showing up as guests. Stuff like that. Like, they clearly spent a lot of their time and budget on this minigame, but it is just flipping Animal Crossing. I can't explain it better than that. If you like the daily life sim and the build stuff and customize your island, yeah, minigame's cool, I guess. You're gonna have a lot of fun with it. If you're not totally sold on it, it's not gonna do anything to change your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the completion requirements for people that are not super into the Animal Crossing thing, I'm not, are way too much, but they're not astronomical and super unreasonable. But I'm not offended by Animal Crossing either. I just will not actively play it if given the choice. So yeah.
Try and impact the guest.
I didn't see him on the guest list, and he's more Yagami's recurring villain.
Villain, yes.
I mean, he did take over Kamurocho's rundown district and declared its own independent nation.
He surrendered peacefully.
And to be fair, it's Kamurocho. I think you'd be doing everyone a favor there.
No.
No, probably not. He makes it worse somehow.
His name is Giant Impact.
Yeah.
He advertises it as he's making the safe haven for all the degenerates of Kamurocho. Which, remember, this is Kamurocho. The degenerates you get there are a step above.
Yes.
So yeah. So yeah, that's Dodoko Island. It's Animal Crossing. And it takes forever. Okay. Other main minigame they added. Sujimon Battles.
I'm still
Oh,
mystified by
why?
what's going on here. Like, I don't understand at all.
So this game
What
was
even is a Sujimon?
a Sujimon is a degenerate that you can capture and have fight other degenerates like Pokemon.
But
Yes.
everybody seems to be one.
Yes, they are.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Don't,
And the
don't-
guy
So
who
why they-
catalogs them is basically like perverts Professor Oak. And he makes no show about hiding that.
yeah. So the mini game involves going around, and sometimes when you defeat enemies, they will be huffing and puffing after the battle and still in the overworld, and you can talk to them. And Ichiban will do this ridiculous little dance of with a gift in his hand, and you select the Pokeball or the gift or Pokeball you want. So they only have like basic, super, hyper, and master gifts you can give that act just like the Pokeballs. And you give it to the Sujimon by playing a little button prompt timing game. The higher up on the bar you stop it, the more likely the Sujimon is to like your present. And then you have to mash the A button, which I have bound to the turbo button because screw any game that asks me to mash anything. And you just recruit the Sujimon, and then you put them in a team.
Just recruit the Sujimon. Just put it in the team. Nothing about this makes any sense. Is this actually happening? Or not?
Yes, this is actually
Yes.
happening, and other characters comment on it. This one isn't Ichiban schizophrenia.
Don't
I
ask. Just don't think about it.
Oh,
I don't understand.
don't worry, it gets worse. So after you've assembled your team of Sujimon and have been winning a few battles, you then will start noticing you're getting a lot of duplicates of Sujimon. Well, you can feed extra copies of a Sujimon to a Sujimon of the same type. You see. And if you feed them enough, you'll get their star rating up. And if you get their star rating up, they evolve.
But
Right there on the
no.
street.
Right there on the street.
Yeah, well, right there at the Sujimon terminal where you're feeding stuff. But yes, usually on the street.
The
And-
Sujimon terminals around the place is also alarming.
And so they will evolve into the next tier of that style of baddie. The how many evolutions each one has is dependent on how many enemy types a particular given enemy has, because they'll have tiered variants of the same. Like the Pornographero is the highest tier of the Rub-a-Dub-Dub dude or whatever.
Yeah, I forget what his base form was called. But,
This is
yeah,
deeply appalling.
for most of them there was like 4 in 7.
Yeah.
4 different ranks.
So yeah, there's three.
Yeah.
There's 3 or 4 for most of them. Some of them only have 2. But
Some of them only had 2, and then some of them had like 3 and a mini boss.
Yeah. So yeah, and you just do that, and you beat the 4 gym leaders and the discrete 4, and you become a Sujimon master. And then you go collect all the Sujimon because you got to dispatch them all.
Yeah.
And the Sujimon don't battle in the normal turn-based way. They have this weird turn-based. It's still turn-based, but it's I don't even know how to describe it. There are 3 lanes, and each Sujimon has an element, and they'll attack whatever's directly in front of them and to the sides. So if they're on the edges, they'll only hit the middle and their side. And you need to line it up so that elements that when you're attacking, you're hitting as many enemies with with an element that they're weak against as possible. And you need to keep your Sujimon out that are weak to whatever the enemy's got on the field. So you're allowed 1 swap for free per turn, so doesn't each a turn. And you can either use that swap to swap a Sujimon out of the field with one of your 3 backups, because you take 6 Sujimon into battle, or you can swap the position of 2 of your on-field characters, because they all fight at the same time right next to each other.
But why?
Reasons?
Because Yakuza, that's why.
Yeah.
But like, what are you attempting to accomplish here?
Become the Sujimon Master.
In order to
Become the Sujimon Master because the professor said to do it.
Okay.
You're looking for depth here. I don't know what to tell you. It ain't there.
I'm not looking for depth. I'm looking for a basic surface level explanation of why.
Yeah, that's too deep for this. So yeah, it's fun for about 2 hours, and then it quickly becomes kind of tedious. If you're going for because the only thing to do after you beat it is to go for completion, and that's a pain in the butt. Because that involves capturing and evolving all the Sujimon. Now they do alleviate this by just anytime you pass by a Sujimon little access point, you get Sujimon Gacha tickets that you can spend, and you'll just get random Sujimon. And sometimes you can get lucky and get a committee member Sujimon, which is the white masked generic NPC, and you can use this as material for anybody. And so you can just spend that gacha until you get a bunch of these, and eventually be able to complete the Suji decks. I haven't completed the Suji decks yet, it's because I'm still unlocking the higher tier dudes. You know, the dudes you fight get tougher as the game goes on. So eventually I'll be able to skip having to use all those guys, and I can just recruit them the good old fashioned way by doing a stupid dance, handing them a present, and then telling them how much I love them through a button mashing minigame.
What?
So yeah. Now for the big thing to talk about with Yakuza 8. And this is minor spoilers, Fern. It's structural spoilers for the game, but
Structural spoilers. Okay.
it is a chapter 8 out of 16. So
about a third of the way through the game.
You will want to hear this, even though it's a spoiler, but it's not
Right.
it's not a groundbreaking spoiler. So like I mentioned last week, in the start of the game, Kiryu joins up with Ichiman. Well, Kiryu's still got cancer, and this is causing problems. So after shenanigans happen in Chapter 7, basically he gets told, okay, you need to go back to Japan and get some rest, and you can support us back home, because you're just going to be a liability if you keep stopping to cough up blood. So Kiryu reluctantly goes back to Ijensho to hang out and play the support role and investigate what's going on there from in an area that's less combat heavy than Hawaii right now, because just everybody is out to get everybody in Hawaii right now.
He doesn't want to become a Sujimon master.
No, I don't. Kiryu would have to be begrudgingly pulled into the Sujimon thing. He would not just agree to do it. The only thing that's ridiculous that Kiryu has just been all in on is pocket circuit racing. And that was when he was younger. And nowadays, whenever it pops up, he's like, oh, I remember that from when I was a kid. That was awesome. But so he goes back to
So he wouldn't be caught teaching a girls' dance club.
No, he's. I mean, if somebody could be helped by doing it, then he probably would, but he would have to be strong-armed or given a real reason to. The professor couldn't just walk up and say, become the Sujimon master. I miss Yagami. Yagami was the best protagonist. But, so yeah, in Chapter 8, this means that Kiryu is now back in Japan. And his part of the games and his chapters will now take place in Japan, separate from Ichiban's. And what the game does not tell you, because if you are like me and looking at this game and the completion metrics and the rewards for them and stuff and deciding which ones you want to get if you're a casual player, or, how much of a chore it's going to be if you want to do all of them, if you're a completionist, I got news for you. The completion list you see throughout the game before Chapter 8 is half of it.
Oh no.
You have to do everything you just did on Ichiban with Kiryu. Again.
Because of course.
Everything that isn't Ichiban exclusive, you have to do again. Win 10 shogi matches again. Play the arcade games again. Do all the metrics on the arcade games again. Play Mahjong again. Play blackjack and poker again.
Someone got really lazy at the office that day, didn't they?
And somebody saw we can make the game last longer and get our metrics up is what happened.
Yeah. Let's just make you do everything twice.
I mean, it's a single player game, but metrics are everything these days. So somebody thought this was a great idea. This person
Somebody they can say they can have 100 hours of gameplay on the box.
Yeah, this person needs to be shot. Not in Minecraft. So, I've been stuck in chapter 8 for 2 days because I had to sit there and redo everything in the minigames I did with Ichiban with Kiryu again.
Because
reasons. This took the wind out of my sails.
This is called padding of the worst kind.
Now, if you are not a completionist, you don't have to do all of it. If you're not afflicted by the same brain disease that I am, it'll just be extra objectives and you can just go do the ones you like. But if you're me, oh boy.
Yeah.
So, something to keep in mind. Also, Kiryu is now the party leader in Japan. And so when you're in Japan, you have access to him, and he has a totally different party than Ichiban does. I think they're all returning faces right now, so you should know all of them. But yeah, he has his own social links with all those characters that you have to do. His own bond levels to get. His own the Japanese classes from the last game can be unlocked when you get back, because when you're in Hawaii, your alternate classes, they take forever to unlock. They don't unlock till like chapter 5. And if you're distracted by mini games in Dodoko Island and stuff, it's going to be a while before you can even unlock classes, which is fine, honestly. The base classes are powerful enough, or the most powerful class for each character. The other ones just basically, they just allow you to have access to a little bit more HP and MP now, instead of being leveling up, giving you really powerful raw stat buffs. They don't transfer between classes anymore, and unlocking abilities that you can move between classes. And they've just made every ability for the classes movable now. It isn't just a select few classes, few moves in each class that or each job rather, that can move between jobs. Like,
right,
you
now just everything.
As you level your bond up, you'll with characters and complete side stuff with the Ichiban and Kiryu, you'll just unlock inheritance slots, and you'll eventually get 5 normal ones and 1 essence one. So you can transfer one class's ultimate and 5 of whatever abilities you want from the other classes to whatever class you actually want to use. And the only passive stat buffs you get are a little bit of HP and MP if you decide to level up multiple classes. So there is not anywhere near the incentive to grind out every single class like there was before. So yeah, that's good. And yeah, you're just you're in Japan in Ijincho doing Kiryu stuff, and given that we're Kiryu, we're probably going back to Kamurocho. Oh, the only narrative part of the spoiler here that is just too funny not to mention is Kiryu can suddenly see everything that Ichiban does in Japan because they need to have a reason for him to be the party leader. And so it turns out...
Don't explain this?
No, they do. It turns out that a combination of hanging around Ichiban too long and his cancer have damaged his brain enough that he can now... he has caught the schizophrenia.
Brain damage is not contagious.
You tell Ichiban that. He seems pretty good at giving it to people.
That's disturbingly true, actually.
But the explanation is so stupid that I was just like, I love it.
I mean, it's Yakuza. Don't think about it. Just roll with it.
Like,
Wanting to be the Sujimon master isn't contagious.
no, not yet
It's
anyway.
something. Definitely something.
So yeah. I've now played all the mini games. A bunch of the mini games I were like, oh, I'm glad the batting center isn't back. The batting center is my least favorite of the mini games at this point. I've done it so much, and it's just memorization. And I've done it for, let's see, Yakuza 6, Judgment, Lost Judgment, Yakuza 7, and now Yakuza 8. I've done the batting center 5 times. To full completion.
It hasn't been fun, any of them either.
It was fun the first time. It was a chore the second through 5th time. They brought it back.
Yeah.
I thought I had escaped it, but then it popped up when Kiryu went to Gensho. I was
Do it again.
like, no. I thought I was saved. For some reason, Kiryu can do the Can Quest minigame. Ichiban can't, because he's in Hawaii. But the Can Quest minigame is there.
Kiryu's never been a hobo.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry about it. It's Yakuza, roll with it. What did he actually buy with it? Because I don't think he'd be particularly interested in broken TVs and used tissues.
Oh, those are crafting materials, my guy.
Ah, right.
Remember, this is the only Yakuza 7 and 8 are the only Yakuzas in the franchise where pocket tissues are actually valuable. Because whereas they just fall out of everything as the worthless vendor trash, the most worthless vendor trash in all the other games. In the turn-based games, for whatever reason, these things are rarer than diamonds.
They are! I couldn't believe that, actually, because I had to go looking for them for one of the adventure guys. What was it? Part-Time Hero. That was what it was called.
Yeah.
You have to go get them for that.
The only reasonable way to do it is to go just get your score up in Can Quest and turn in your points for pocket tissues.
That's ultimately what I ended up doing, is just going and buying them that way.
Yeah.
You can actually, in 7, you can go and just knock out a whole bunch of Part-Time Hero doing that.
Yeah. I did all of the Part-Time Heroes. Including the ones to kill X number of particular Tsuchimon.
Which are there. And they're a grind.
Yeah, especially when some of them are rare spawns, and you need 10 of them. They get bad later.
Oh, no.
Because you haven't got...
How many Pornographer arrows?
I think 5?
Ugh. 1 was enough.
Oh, there's a fixed spawn for that one. You can just run the dungeon 3 or 5 times, and you'll get one every time.
That's not too bad, but even just make sure you take lightning damage.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll be there all day.
Yeah, and the very first elite enemy that you can encounter, like, because there are elite enemy encounters in this one, that you'll run into, that see little enemies around with a crown that have better drops and are one time only, and are a bit stronger than the rest of the mobs in the area, and they'll be led by a leader that's just the highest tier version of generic mooks, with souped up stats that you can beat up. The very first one you encounter with Kiryu is the Pornographera.
Of course it is.
So yeah,
These games, I love them, but holy damn, are they dumb?
Yeah. The whole time I'm going through this game, I'm just thinking, man, I miss Yagami.
He appears.
Like
Yagami, silly moment.
Yagami was silly, but he was cool too. He was the cool kind of silly. Like, he didn't take himself too seriously, but he still tried to, not be a total clown. And his gameplay was just way more fun. And oh boy, did they nail it last game. Unfortunately, we'll probably never get a Judgment 3.
Dodge.
Because Japanese actors and the studios that own them
Did they at least tie up all the plot threads for him?
Yeah, he didn't have any that really got left outstanding by his story. Most of it was the side characters, and those aren't, captured by the same hole that Yagami's actor particularly is. So Kaito, for instance, got an entire DLC that was great, absolutely amazing, like one of the best $20 DLCs out there, and that just did a story for him. So you actually got to know who Kaito is and see him resolve his personal issues. And Kaito actually got the girl in Yakuza.
Huh?
I
No,
know.
that doesn't
Didn't just,
happen.
didn't just settle into an awkward will they or won't they forever?
No.
Because the
And she
plot
didn't
card
die.
advanced?
No, she lived, and the guy that she was staying with that rescued her, because of the shenanigans in Kaito's past, also loved her, and he is a good guy. And so after you beat up the most reprehensible scumbag final boss in the Kaito DLC of all time, he turns out he's not the real final boss to make sure you're worthy of this woman he loves, because he knows that Kaito's girlfriend is still, in love with Kaito. He rips his shirt off and is the most jacked, the most jacked, mousy doctor dude you've ever seen in your life, and he is going to protect this woman, and make sure that Kiryu is strong enough to make sure Kaito is strong enough to take care of her.
Like that guy in Tales of the Borderlands.
And he is the hardest fight in the entirety of the Judgment series, and it's not even close. And he has whatever his health bar shows, it's like already bigger than everything else. It's twice that size because he refills it after you beat him once. It's just this mousy little doctor man that wears the normal doctor attire and doctor coat, and it looks really mousy otherwise until he takes that coat and shirt off. It's like, oh, boy's jacked.
Yeah. But yeah, having the actual happy ending and a romance in a Yakuza game, it's like, have they been drinking? No, wait, hang on. No, rephrase that. Have they stopped drinking?
Like they actually knew, I think, that was the end for that franchise for the foreseeable future, and so they wanted to give a side story that had full closure. Because the other two stories are fairly self-contained Yagami stories. You get a lot of insight into who Yagami is and a lot of his past in the first game. But the mysteries are mystery stories. When the mystery ends, that's it. There's no grand arching conspiracy in the Judgment games that runs across both of them. Yeah.
It's a mystery. It's like, but it has to do with Giant Impact, so...
The mystery around Giant Impact largely devolves to why?
Oh, the very first piece of furniture I built for Dodoko Island was like 50 of the stupid signboard that Yagami and Kaito get their heads stuck in that one side quest.
I see.
Of course you did.
Because it was worth a ton of points.
That's so stupid.
That was a great side quest. I miss Yagami.
That's stupid side quest.
I miss Yagami and Kaito. They were the best. Like they had gold with that. So yeah. Yakuza 8 continues as my my main focus for single player stuff. I'm not enjoying it as much as I would like to. But
because Judgment set the bar too high?
Yeah, basically. Judgment and Lost Judgment set the bar way too high. Like, the writing is cleaner, the characters are more fun. Like, I just like Yagami and his crew way better than I do Ichiban and his friends. Like it's those games had wonderfully fluid action combat that, while it had some bumps in the first game, by the second game they had nailed that down to a very expressive and very fun system. And now we're in turn-based land where, while they've added a lot of improvements to it, I just got to play with Yagami and Lost Judgment. You kidding me? Everything's going to look like a downgrade after that. And they still play the RPG mechanics too safe. The game is still heavily focused on just outstatting your opponents. Because basically you'll have the numbers to beat them or you won't. Like there ain't a whole lot of strategy you can do other than going and grinding a whole bunch of money your levels and just throwing summons at it. Maybe that's still a form of throwing numbers at the opponent. So it's just yeah. If I hadn't played the Judgment series, I probably would not be as lukewarm on the Ichiban games as I am. Like they're not bad, and there's a lot to do if you're just looking for something with the raw quantity of content. The game made
So
me.
the most polished entry, which serves as the best late entry point to the franchise as a whole, is the one that is not getting continued.
Yeah,
Yeah, sounds about right.
I mean, Judgment and Lost Judgment are still great to play by themselves, even if you have no intention of continuing onwards. Like, I wholly recommend it. They did have Kaito and the kid, brain farting on his name, that works for it as that started his own branch office of the Yagami Detective Agency. Uh, they uh, they appeared in the guiding game for Kiryu, which was the biggest slog of a video game I've ever played through. Like the Gaiden game for Kiryu is so clunky, especially if you play it immediately after Lost Judgment, like I did. Like that one's an action game to action game comparison. Holy crap, Kiryu is nowhere near as fun or as cool as Yagami in that game, and everything feels like it has less impact.
I am stuck in the sky.
I was trying to get up to you, but I ran out of jumps.
I am stuck in the sky. Wheels on the bike are spinning. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just floating in midair.
Yep, it says I'm at the appropriate-ish axis, but I don't see you. No idea where you are.
You're definitely below me. Like I said, I'm stuck in the sky.
Yeah. So yeah. So yeah, right now the game is getting, the same kind of tentative recommendation that I gave Yakuza 7. It can get better or worse. Depends on how much they flesh out the RPG mechanics and how much I feel after getting over having to do all the minigames twice. I had to play Spike Out twice. Spike Out is terrible. The people that like it are dumb people.
I'm gonna have to teleport. I can't get out of the sky. Somewhere else.
So yeah, for those that don't know, and that would be everybody, Spike Out is a 3D spiritual successor to Streets of Rage that is awful, terrible. Just a beat 'em up that discourages being aggressive.
What? How do you
Why?
even play that?
You have to back off after you complete a combo. Otherwise, the next move the boss will do will be invincible and just beef through you. You will wind up sitting there just throwing yin into the machine to do all the stages, because if you are not going to sit down and be a dedicated Spike Out player, it is not worth it to sit here and learn all the ins and outs and of the weird mechanical strangeness of this game. Never mind that you have to, press and hold a button to move laterally in this game.
Dedicated Spike Out player. Do those exist?
I went and looked up what people's opinions were of it on YouTube after I beat the minigame the second time, and there is a dedicated Spike Out player base of that gets like 2,000 views per video, and these people are insane
Why?
because they like pain more than I do, and that is an accomplishment and probably a danger to society.
Say so, yeah. Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's basically it. I was a little disappointed the big minigame was Animal Crossing. Like the big minigame can be hit or miss, but Dice and Cube wasn't particularly interesting either. They really haven't done very well since the Cabaret Club and Zero on their big mini games. But like Saijima, I remember Saijima's hunting mini game in 4 because they did 4 big mini games in that game. But his was really really good. And of course the Cabaret Club for Majima and Zero is amazing. Everybody likes that one. It's one of the best business management sims out there. For at least as far as a mini game plopped into a big game. But Dodoko Island just rips too hard on Animal Crossing. Like there's basically no distinction. The only difference is accelerated days. So it's like, yeah, I've already played this before. There's no spin on this. But yeah, that's where we're at with Yakuza right now. I'll give a generic recommendation on the story when we get there, because the story has been stalled out for like 3 or 4 of the days this week because I got stuck in minigame hell. The progress on it has not been very good. We're only halfway through the game. And I will say this, the main story has not been particularly long. Like, if you were to skip cutscenes, you could probably blow through this story in about 2 hours. Like, they expect you to get lost and derp around the world. Well, some of the dungeons can go on a bit, so you might take you about 6 hours, given the current dungeons. Tack on any extra time from the later game dungeons that will show up. But yeah. So that's all I got for my week. All the gacha stuff, I don't really have anything to bounce off of either, other than, Amy's coming out next week. That'll be fun for me. Vol's already got her. He's getting the chicken, and ZZ and Woo are both doing their patch next week.
It's gonna be rough. Really? No, ZZ's is not. Is it? That doesn't make sense.
I'm pretty sure it is.
That doesn't make any sense.
Not their patch. Sorry, their banner rotation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, banner rotation for ZZ is next week, not the patch. So yeah, go Vol, go.
Okay, I'll temporarily pause my genocide of every mechanical life form in your game. Let's see. First of all, Blue Archive. The Grand Crusade against the Steel Continent is over. Decagrammaton is finished, and with it, the last major plot line of Part 1 of Blue Archive. And it ended quite well. I liked it. It was pretty strong when all was said and done. It's stronger if you have 0 metaphysical commitments to reality. However, it's overall still pretty good. Everybody that makes it out of the story intact, I guess, gets to return to Millennium at the end, and they have their little moments, and Yuka decides to, stake her claim as original calculator waifu by monopolizing Sensei's time afterwards, because she's very upset with him for basically, as she puts it, go off to fight robots in the tundra without telling her. But yeah, and Rio gets sort of basically forced to stay put and be president for once, instead of wandering off to hide and embezzle cash, etc. I mean, realistically, at this point, probably everybody in Millennium knows that Yuka is actually running the show, because Rio is never around. But anyway, it all comes to a close, and it was quite a satisfying end because of the sort of the weird staccato way in which Decagrammaton got told. The story's pacing is very uneven throughout. Hopefully, at some point, Ari will go through it so that I can sort of get a point of view on it for like what is it like if you actually just read this as a story from start to finish, as opposed to seeing the story play out a little bit at a time over the course of like a year, 2 years, sort of thing. but yeah, it's all coming to an end. It was full of hype moments and hope core and shouting your attack names and so on. It was all good. It was what everybody wants from Blue Archive, basically, and it's a fitting close to part one. And there's still a few bits and pieces to be told because there's cleanup to do. Several important key figures at Millennium and also the games development department sort of just disappeared without warning for an extended period of time to, as you could put it, go and fight robots in the tundra. But yeah, they have to sort of explain where have you been. Yeah. I think that it actually does mesh very well with games development department. Functionally, Decogrammaton ends up becoming games development department chapter 3 or whatever number they're up to, because it very much becomes Eris's story as the story goes along. Like it starts off being primarily Amy and Himari sort of like making you be their foot slogger, but eventually it becomes the games development department's story, and Himari and Amy take a back seat, and Toki is there too, and Toki is very strange because Toki has no filter whatsoever and always says exactly what's on her mind at any particular point in time, and sort of ends up serving as the id for every female character in the entire setting that is thirsty for sensei. More so
Yeah.
even than Hanako.
Did
Like, I think Toki would probably make Hanako blush.
did Neru show up? Or
No,
should
Neri doesn't show up because she's sort of holding down the fort at Millennium. Because like, if Neru left Millennium as well, that would basically mean that there were no power hitters left at Millennium, and that would create sort of a hole in the story because Gehenna would march in the second that they thought they could get away with it. So yeah, it's basically the games it's between the games development department and the Super Phenomenon Task Force, and Toki is basically there because she is appended to the Super Phenomenon Task Force by merit of having been Ryo's lackey once upon a time. But yeah, I think that I think I still like, of the characters, I like Himari the most still, because she's got like this perfect balance between an ego the size of a planet and also being the most empathetic and understanding person in the cast. And I find the contrast very entertaining because she will simply go off on these lengthy diatribes about how wonderful she personally is, while also ending up being the one who has to cut through all the nonsense of people not talking about their feelings and get them to, be honest. So yeah, I enjoyed the story overall. I'm looking forward to seeing where they go with the new start. Part 2s are always risky for long-running story-based games. Like part 2 in Honkai Impact 3rd, for instance, sort of nosedived, and people were generally unhappy with it. They are bringing an end to part 2 actually for Honkai Impact 3rd, and I haven't played very much of it. I played the very beginning of it, but it's kind of dense and hard to get into compared to the previous one, which is mainly jank for gameplay reasons. But they're bringing an end to part 2, and generally speaking, people are not very happy with the way it's going, and it sounds almost like they're almost putting it into maintenance mode. Like it doesn't seem like they really have any ideas about a large overarching plot to move forward with in Honkai Impact 3rd. It seems more like they're just planning to, we'll do events and short stories now, and sort of like put it kind of on hold. And I can't help but wonder if that's for the same reason that Star Rail has been faltering so badly lately, that the money is being misappropriated for boondoggles. But yeah. Anyway, part 2s are always risky for long runners. Hopefully they'll stick the landing, because the gap has closed very significantly between the global server and the JP server for Blue Archive, there's not really a huge amount of information floating around on how part 2 is going because they haven't seen very much of it yet, basically. So, yeah, have to wait and see how that goes. So that's that one. Ones that are not doing anything, well, that's not strictly true. ZZZ has had plenty of events, I just haven't touched them because I've been too busy. So yeah, I don't really have anything to say about ZZZ. I still haven't touched last week's event either. I haven't finished the Bangbu event either. The Bangbu, whatchamacallit, the auto battler thingy. I don't think I'm ever going to have enough time to devote to, concocting a team that is balanced such that I can get through that 90% damage reduction by skipping over that health bar or whatever the current technique is to do it. It sounds too much like hard work because I'd have to mold over the old whatchamacallits, the randomly generated equipment for Bangboos. Doesn't sound like fun to me. Maybe if I end up at a loose end, I'll do it. But that doesn't sound very likely to me. So yeah, I'm not planning on pulling on Norma. Apparently she's a really good character, all told. In certain situations, allegedly even better than Dylan, which is difficult to believe, but there is only one Dylan on any given person's account. So maybe so. I don't have infinity polychromes to just pull for every character, and I don't plan to crack my wallet. There are too many things that I crack my wallet for as it is, so ZZZ is not going to be one of them. Yeah, I don't think I've got much else to say about ZZZ. Do you want to chime in on anything ZZZ-wise, RSTL, before I just sort of vamoose?
I already talked about how I like the event, the other event, the Not Bangbu last week, and the
What's the new one this week? Because I saw that I've got a freaking exclamation point on that tab again.
It's a bunch of short stories with the investigator boo and the private detective we saw briefly. Basically getting to know them and solving little mini mysteries with them.
Right. Yeah, I haven't really done much more in Risk Caliphate. I like the place generally. I like the execution of 3.0 as a whole. I think they did a good job with it. Hopefully they can build on this momentum and not get stuck in a rut. But they seem like they've learned a lot of good lessons from the several major missteps that they made early on in 2.x. So hopefully they've committed that stuff to memory now. They seem to have been pretty good about that in the past. I'm going to sneeze, but I can't quite. No, it's gone. It got away from me. I didn't sneeze.
Don't you hate those?
It was so close. It was so close, but it didn't quite go all the way there. Now it's going to sneak up on me later. Anyway, yeah. So that's that. Let's see. Star Rail is, of course, nothing happened this week because nothing has happened all patch, and that's been the main problem. The only thing that really happened this week for Star Rail in game was that they dispatched the survey, so I gave them both barrels.
Again.
Well, the thing is that I've ramped up the intensity of my complaints pretty significantly over the course of the past couple patches, and this time it was basically everything that I said, with one or two exceptions, very, very small, minor exceptions, was ardently negative.
Yep.
Simply because of everything just smacks of lack of effort, and the way they deployed the story chapter was also a real miscalculation. Like, if it had been a patch that was loaded with content, then they probably could have gotten away with this chapter of main story. But the problem with this chapter of main story is that it mainly raises questions. It answers very few questions. It leaves lots of plot threads sort of like flapping in the breeze. And since there's no actual content in the patch after the fact, you spend most of your time just kind of, if you think a lot about Star Rail like I do, because it's one of my main games, you spend a lot of time sort of pointlessly mulling over things you don't understand. And, writing out theories on your Discord notepad because you're trying to, comprehend what is going on and what is attempted to be communicated by the story, not really sure Because like when the problem is when you get a story chapter of this brevity, becomes very difficult to tell whether something is a communication misstep or a purposefully left out plot hook. And that's quite a frustrating state of affairs. Like I have this operating theory that that sort of that wasting illness that Himiko's family get is related almost directly in terms of like phenomenology to Firefly's entropy loss syndrome.
Oh,
Um,
who has crashed?
oh, well, I'm fine. But yeah, but that's sort of like wild speculation, and there's nothing that I can really do with that because, well, there was so little story to get my teeth into this time. It was all sort of kind of focused on, it was focused on Blade primarily, and I understand that Blade has a lot of fans, and his story needed to be brought to a point where he can become a real character instead of a sort of like a brooding bad boy who just grunts occasionally. Now he's sort of like a real individual who can look forward to the future rather than just be mired in the past. So his plot arc is, if not complete, at least it has matured to the point where he's going to, be moving forward as a person instead of just sort of like an impersonal force of grouchiness. But yeah, the patch was quite bad in terms of like what did it add to the game? Not much. It was pretty much a half of a story chapter sort of thing almost. Like it was sort of like woo were segue length rather than a full chapter, and the events were dog water. Like we've already discussed the ship one in the past. I finished the theme park one, and like the nicest thing I can say about the theme park one is that it was better than the ship one, but that is setting the bar about as low as it can possibly be set. It's still extremely difficult to fail. It's the difference being it's actually conceivable that you could play badly enough to fail it.
You would have to,
It
like,
would be challenging. It would be challenging. You'd probably have to set out with a will to fail, but you could probably do it.
like
I reckon.
if you got only campfires and that's all you put down on the board, you might
Well,
fail.
maybe if you really like campfires, I guess.
'Cause
But yeah, and they just made some really obvious missteps as well with it in terms of like the most obvious one I think is that the endless mode, like it just doesn't make sense to allow no targeting because that just means you have to spend a lot of time doing things you don't want to do before you get to try anything you do want to do, which makes it even more boring than it already was. So yeah, there's lots of stupid things about it. I can sort of see what they're going for, but it is basically an auto battler by other means.
yeah,
Like there's not really a meaningful conceptual difference between it and an auto battler.
yeah, I had to
Sort
force
of inverse
myself to
tower
do it.
defense. Yeah, like I don't want to see it again. They're definitely going to repeat it because they repeat freaking everything, but I don't want to see it again. It's just a waste of my time. And I don't know why they're suddenly just like married to the idea of recycling every 2000s Flash game in a Star Rail context. Like, sorry, no, thank you. I don't know why you're doing this. I've never actually seen anybody give good feedback on any of these events. Like, it's just uniformly negative every time, and they still keep doing it.
Maybe all the Flash games that we played as kids just weren't in China, and so this is all new and novel to them.
I mean, it could be. They do have the Great Firewall, and they were behind on technology for a long time. It's entirely possible that they've just missed that era of the internet. But yeah, I mean, it's the sort of thing that is only really acceptable if it's like a side event done by the new intern in the office who has to get to grips with coding. And so they've just said, okay, so we're going to give you a space like to do a little mini event each patch, which just find a simple concept and build a little game around it, and we'll develop that one out and put it in the game, but this is your little project to direct so that you can, pick up some project management skills, pick up some coding skills, pick up some concepting skills. Like, this seems like incubator material for a new staff member. It doesn't actually seem like mature design. And in no respect does it look like mature design.
The real bad part for Star Rail was it had those two events come out alongside ZZZ 3.0, where in addition to patch launch, we had, the full Pinecone battle event, auto Pinekoabu event, and then we had the Vampire Survivors Toho game, which looks like it was made on a budget of popsicle sticks and popsicle sticks, and and is infinitely more fun.
Yeah, I think that there's like that I feel like that team has had the talent bleed out of it, because there were back in the old days, like, I mean, if you look at the events that were included alongside, say, the ghost squad, the ghost hunting squad, like, they're all based around the core mechanics of Star Rail. That is, new spins on combat, new mechanics for combat as part of the event, so people are engaging with things that have challenges attached to them. They are engaging with it using the characters that they have built on their account. They are doing something that makes sense in context for the setting and story. Like, this is like a radically different type of event content to what they've been doing lately.
Yeah.
Starting in like Penacony. Like, it's not even like conceptually the same thing. It's not like they're doing a worse version of the same thing. Like, they've changed the entire direction to something that nobody wants for no clear reason, because it's getting roundly negative feedback from every venue that I've ever seen. I don't have any access to the guts of what the CN community is saying, but they tend to be on average harder to please than the EN side. So yeah, it's very, very strange that they have gone this route. Anyway, I gave a lot of very negative feedback about a whole variety of related topics in the survey, but even if everybody gave really bad ratings, and that's entirely possible that they would, since I saw a great deal of discontent floating around in several different language spheres of Twitter, because Twitter, now that it's got automatic translate, doesn't really make any distinction between the different spheres. And like, the major spheres aside from CN are the US, Japan, and Indonesia, and I get tweets from all of them, and all of them were unhappy. So yeah, I don't know what the incubation time is going to be like on a change of direction, but the Plan Arcadia arc is shorter, so there's feasible excuses for a change in direction, because we will leave Plan Arcadia behind, and we will leave Plan Arcadia behind after 4.4. And 4.4 is the patch that had their preview stream. So having done all of the doomerism about the current patch, the next one, in certain respects, doesn't look like it's going to be much of a departure, but of course it was developed before they had any feedback from the previous one, so if things really are coming to a head as far as the boiling point of the community is concerned, they wouldn't have had time to act on it for 4.4. But 4.4, it's sort of hard to tell what the level of sparseness of content is going to be, but as far as the story is concerned, it's going to be the climax of the Planet Acadia story. And things are not looking good for our girl Himiko. There's a lot of scenes and things in the trailer that are extremely evocative of Murata Himiko's last hurrah in Honkai Impact. Like, girl has opened a death flag factory. Like, if you just look at the key art for the patch, it's like already the death flag is being raised. I'll just try and grab it so that I can post it in the show chat. where's the best way to grab it? They would have put it on the. Okay, this will do. I'll just copy and paste. Where's my live show chat tab? Okay, so this is the key art for the version. This is from the highlights page, so it's got highlights page written on it, but it's functionally the same piece of art. The whole everybody in, so you've got Baddie on the left hand side, right? And you've got along the diagonal very sad and somber looking Astral Express peeps, and then you've got Himiko looking sort of wistful, silhouetted against like a bright white background going off into the corner of the screen. So this is just a death flag. I'm sorry. This is what a death flag looks like. Why are you doing this to Himiko again?
Gonna have to die to beat up the wiggly noodle thing. The Ouroboros noodle.
And it's like that, and that's not all. There's like all of these lines and things that are also sort of like Pom Pom in the preview refers to in the previous stream refers to her as looking like a valiant Valkyrie. Yes, well, Murata Himiko in Honkai Impact 3 was in fact a Valkyrie. So I don't really need any more comparisons drawn between our Himiko and that dearly departed Himiko. And then there's like a brief scene, like you know, the one of those split second shots of Himiko embracing Stell in the exact same way that Himiko embraces Kiana with her dying breath, sort of thing. And it's like, no, why are you doing this? We thought that for once she would survive.
No.
But no, it's a Honkai game. Himiko emerges in a Honkai game with her return ticket already stamped. Which makes me very sad, and I'm sort of dreading 4.4 now, because she's probably going to have a super hype moment, just like other Himikos do, and then meet a really sticky end. And it will be dramatic, and it will be a worthy sacrifice, I'm sure. I just don't think that she can do anything with this amount of death flags already raised.
Unless they are deliberately raising them to subvert it.
I would probably be happy if that were the case.
Yeah, our girl lived!
But I don't have high hopes because the Himiko line is not... Like, Himiko dies like 2 or 3 times in Honkai Impact 3rd, and then post-death you have another tearful farewell with her, under different circumstances entirely. It's like, they just like killing Himikos, I guess.
Nah, Welt's gonna die this time.
Can they even kill Welt at this point?
I don't think that they can actually kill Welt, because that would be treading on the other branch of the franchise's toes, because our Welt in Star Rail is the same person as from Honkai Impact 3rd. He just kind of got lost.
So you can't kill him without creating massive continuity issues.
Well, it wouldn't create continuity issues, because I don't think they've brought him back. Question mark. It's not really sure. There are a few rather disorganized time skips in Honkai Impact 3rd, and I'm not sure exactly at which point Welt departs from their setting and ends up in Star Rail. But realistically, I think they should probably let Welt aura farm a bit more, because he is like a really powerful individual for a human, and he only ever does things off screen apart from in the prologue in Star Rail. So yeah, they should let him do something for once. That'd be nice.
Back screen.
Yeah.
Words.
There you go.
Everyone loves words on a black screen. But yeah. So they introduced the characters that they're bringing out, and the main one, of course, for the main story is Himiko herself, and it looks as OP as ever. As far as closed beta was concerned, she closed out in a very, very strong position, but like definitely going to be the most powerful character in the game, even, you know, Shill aside, but with a very restrictive team. That said, the very restrictive team she has is a very restrictive team everybody owns already, because you can use Astral Express members. Like that's the constraint,
Does it count
and
like
everybody's got them.
does it count like Evernight as well?
Yeah, even they specifically say that like the question like Pom Pom asks Himiko in the stream, oh, but do you still accept Evernight as even though she's like a different person to March? And Himiko's like, oh, I see every March as being the same March, so of course Evernight counts. So yeah, I doubt Evernight is going to synergize all that well because Evernight's kind of like HP based uh remembrance team
The-
character,
There,
but
there,
you can use her to meet the requirements.
there is a problem in that train is like the only place in the universe where the male female balance is even or in favor of the icky boys.
Well,
I
it
mean,
is what it is.
if Black Swan hadn't gotten off the train, we'd be okay. But she got off the train.
I mean, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know who might join the Astro Express or anything like that. But
If Chicken Wing Man gets off the train, does he no longer count as an Astral Express member?
I mean, he is an Astral Express member in the him for Himiko's purposes mechanically, and there are no Sunday SPs currently planned, as far as leakers have revealed. So he is Astral Express for the foreseeable future, I would say. But that's not necessarily a permanent thing. But I don't know. He's still a bit standoffish, and you can see the way they've done various composition for group shots throughout the current arc. When they are all present, Sunday always stands a little bit further away from the others than everybody else. They've sort of done that deliberately. He still doesn't really feel like he belongs, but in order for his arc to complete and him to get off the Astral Express, he'll probably need to close that gap. So at present, he's probably Astral Express for the foreseeable future. Yeah, so yeah, that's the thing there. Because they haven't learned any lesson, the next event is Tetris.
I mean, I like
Because
Tetris,
we need
but
more
I
well,
got
the
plenty
thing is
of
that
games to play Tetris.
this isn't straight up Tetris though. They've decided that straight up Tetris would be too boring, so it's inverse Tetris.
What?
Oh,
You don't want
right. So
you don't want to delete the lines. You want to stack the blocks as high as possible, and there is physics, so it will topple over if you stack them too imperfectly.
Uh-huh.
right.
Well, it can't be worse than Laha Roy, the one where you have to move Rover around.
Ugh.
That,
Ugh, I hate that one. But yeah, I don't know how it will play out. It's going to have a multiplayer mode again for I don't know, co-op head to head. I can't tell. They call everything co-op, even if it's competitive in Star Rail for some reason. But there's in order to get the achievements, they said that they'll include AI Silver Wolf that you can do those stages with if you want. So that if you are absolutely fed up with the clowns that you keep getting match made with, you can just use the computer.
the feedback of Genshin has reached them. I didn't have too many bad experiences with the dice game, the dice card game co-op thing. But yeah, all my bad co-op experiences in Hoyo games has been with flipping Genshin players. Like
You mean Kazuha's and Jeff's?
yeah, and what's the other Winda boy that doesn't do anything? The jumpy one, Demon Mask, China one.
Xiao?
Yeah, like they just
Yeah.
play those three, and they're totally useless. Remember that time we locked in as like Nangong and not Nangong, Nangwang and Navia, and the guy picked Kazuha.
Yeah. There's no real explanation. It just seems to be a thing though. Like I said, there's no combat mechanics whatsoever in the painting event that they had last patch for Genshin, and yet people would still lock in their Kazuha. They just can't help but play Kazuha. They have to play Kazuha. They can't get away from Kazuha. But yeah, it is what it is. Anyway, so that is that part of the thing that they revealed, such as it was. Then of course, other than that, there's the other big event, which is the Fate collab. So I have thought and written a great deal about pulling for 4.4, and as soon as I got to see more of Tosaka on the screen, I folded like a cheap suit. Like, the odds of me not pulling her just shriveled away. So I'll probably end up pulling for her, even though in some sense I don't really want to pull, but I just can't help it. That's the point of collabs, I know that, but at any rate, so the rough gist of the plot line this time is, in the previous collab, old Oti had created a Holy Grail in the dreamscape, and when all was said and done and the Holy Grail war he cooked up was over, Skrullum turned the Grail into basically a neutralized keepsake for the Astral Express, and it basically became a souvenir for them.
Can't possibly end well.
So the Astral Express has this Holy Grail, which is totally inert and not capable of magic or anything. Fundamentally, it doesn't like gather magic and do magic or anything like that. So
It just sits there.
But the adventure did happen. It's still canon, and it gets brought up now and again. And so this souvenir they've got is something the Astral Express actually have, and it was one of the exhibits that they put on loan to Pearl when she set up Star Rail Fest in 3.1.
Oh no.
Or 4.1. And so it's there with all the Plan Arcadians looking at it, filling it to the brim with wish power.
Oh
and
dear.
So basically, it's in and of itself, it doesn't have any functions or purpose directly normally, because even if it's filled up with wish power, there's nobody who knows how to use it because it's a Holy Grail and nobody's seen one before. I think that there's sort of some sort of vague hints here and there throughout the game that the Holy Grail story, that like the Fate universe, exists as a fiction in Star Rail, because Silverwolf brings up Stell's noble phantasm is getting Firefly to play video games at one point. So it does exist, but it's not like well-known fiction. It's niche fiction that only a geek like Silverwolf knows about. So it's even if the Holy Grail is full of wish power, there's nobody to use it. So Miss Tosaka, however, is she's a Tosaka who is at a later stage of her training than the Tosaka that people are familiar with from Fate Stay Night itself, and she has begun the world-hopping adventure shenanigans that are typical of a student trying to learn the kaleidoscope, and accidentally falls into the Star Rail world with the absolute total amount of her prana depleted and has no way to get out of the Star Rail world back to her journey. And there's no magical power anywhere. So she doesn't know how to restock. And basically she gets wind of the fact that there's, for some freaking stupid reason, a Holy Grail in this world. And so she decides to nick it. Or borrow it, I guess. More like nick it. So unfortunately, there is this Holy Grail that is full of wish power, and this one person who thinks that who comes from a universe where Holy Grails are known. She knows how to use it because she was brought up in one of the three main families, and she thinks that it's her ticket out of here. And so it seems she accidentally triggers the Holy Grail war while attempting to use this thing for her own ends. And that's the sort of the direction of the story. Based on the trailers, it's implied that she tries to summon a servant to help her deal with the situation, and the servant that she summons is Stell.
Could you just send a servant back and get a new one?
I don't think
Yep.
you can do that. I don't think there's a returns policy on the Holy Grail.
But this one's a stupid gremlin. We don't want it.
It's got a baseball bat.
Yeah. Yeah, and kleptomania.
I mean, you could have got Ichiban. He also has a baseball bat, but he's schizophrenic.
Stell's just dumb.
Well, I mean, Stell was sort of a blank slate. She's basically had no choice but to construct a personality from scratch based on the things going on around her, which are always
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Which are always dumb, so yeah.
Actually, now that I think about it, Ichiban is acknowledged as a hero by many other characters other than himself. Like in canon, he totally qualifies.
That would be a very strange Holy Grail war.
I mean, the question is, I suppose, in terms of power, is not whether he's merely a hero, but whether the things he has accomplished are acknowledged by others as having some mystery associated with them. Like, are they mystical? I mean, they're certainly mystical from what he can see, but do other people perceive the world to be as he does? That's the thing.
Yes, and people asking what the hell is wrong with this guy doesn't count.
Well, we know at least one other person sees the world the way he does now. I mean, it took cancer to do it, but
Yeah, it could brain cancer.
well, it's not brain cancer;
Anyway.
it's nebulous anime cancer.
Oh, it's just, quote unquote cancer.
Yeah, that kind.
Right.
Anyway,
There's your
so
mysticism.
they didn't go into as much sort of like detail, even as vague as I told the story in sort of like the terms that I understood it, but they used a certain amount of vagueness, so I could be off base in my interpretation of what they were actually saying. But they said a lot less about why Gilgamesh has showed up, other than that he kind of has. It seems to be implied that Rin sort of triggered a rain of treasures of some kind when setting off the Holy Grail War, and Gilgamesh just sort of showed up by force of, these are mine.
I blame Sparky. She probably did it.
But yeah, anyway, they showed off the characters and their various combat abilities and so on, and that's all pretty much as I expected. But seeing Rin in action, like I said, I folded like a cheap suit. All of my will to resist pulling this next patch kind of just evaporated. But yeah, in banner terms, it's a long-term win. So there's not actually a cause for rushing if you don't want to rush. Where are my notes on what the banners were? Because I did scratch that down. Phase 1 banners for 4.4. I've written 3.5 here, but that's the wooer. Let's go 4.4. Phase 1 is Himiko Nova, Sparksy, Permansatere, and Evernight. And phase 2 is Himiko Nova still, Sarija, Anaxa, and Aventurine for some reason, even though Aventurine was given out for free. Well, you could pick him for free if you really wanted to, for whatever reason. His Eidolons aren't great. So yeah, and of course the banners are basically fundamentally permanent for Gilgamesh and Rin, and they are going to be merging all of the fate characters into a special fate banner that shares pity across all of those, and they are doing the 200 pulls will allow you to get Archer's light cone or Gilgamesh's light cone, you pick which one, and they're doing the pick one of Archer or Gilgamesh for free sort of thing. So it's going to be a tough choice whether I want to get Gilgamesh so that I've got Gilgamesh for collection's sake. Not very strong argument. Or whether I get an Eidolon for Archer. If I decide to go all in on building Rin's team to be powerful, then it's going to be probably the Archer E1 that I'll go for.
Yeah, I recall you saying that the Rin Archer combo is pretty powerful.
It is extremely powerful. It is not as powerful as like a as like the full Himiko team or whatever. But it's going to be up there in terms of like performance when it's like matured and put together correctly. The Gilgamesh, by the time the beta was over, the Gilgamesh team was pretty solid. It's not as good as using Gilgamesh Saber is not quite as good as using Rin Archer. But if you want to use Saber, Gilgamesh is your ticket to making Saber relevant again. That's pretty much just the way it is. There's not really going to be any other uplift for Saber, I don't think. I doubt that they're going to do a I doubt they're going to do a Nova Flare or anything for Saber to rescue her unless the game direction goes such that Gilgamesh isn't able to make her usable anymore for whatever reason. But that's the general direction. Yeah, so there's going to be an event with story and with a combat thing of some kind. They showed some footage of the combat, but the combat is really confusing to look at, and they didn't explain any details on what exactly is even going on in this footage. The interface doesn't quite look like the usual one. It looks kind of different. So obviously it's going to be quite a different spin on combat, and the combat layout is based around master servant pairs type of thing rather than your standard 4-man party with various cards and things. Not 100% sure what exactly is going on there. Yeah, there was just a lot of stuff that is not going to really be clear how it works until you can play it, as far as that event is concerned. But at least it looked like it was based around Star Rail mechanics and not on freaking tic-tac-toe or something. Yeah, but yeah, there wasn't a huge amount of other stuff talked about. There's various cosmetic stuff in there. Sparksy's getting a new outfit, which is actually pretty cute. Like, I could be probably tempted towards getting that one. I don't normally get Star Rail outfits because most of them are mediocre. But the Sparksy one is quite nice, and I like Sparksy. But don't think I'm going to pull for her though, because I'm definitely not going to have any pulls left over. Just getting Rin alone is probably going to force me to crack the wallet, which I'm sort of reluctant to do because number one, that's cracking the wallet, and number two, Star Rail's not in a great place right now, so it'll depend on whether or not the next patch is offensively bad, whether or not I eventually follow through on that. So we'll have to wait and see. But
and also your wallet's dead in the woo running patches.
Yeah, I've got quite a bit of Asterite saved up, but not enough to be going on with, I don't think. How much Asterite do I currently have? I have 38,000 currently. So it's not as bad as it could be. It could be a lot worse.
You can't lose the weapon pull.
Yeah, that's true. You can't lose the weapon pull. But yeah, anyway. So yeah, it does look like the major storyline is going to be sort of like mostly tied up with the end of this patch that we're currently going through, and then we will be off to the next locale for the back half of this version, where we will meet the drip marketed individuals from this week, being the Summer Robin and Summer Aventurine.
Yeah, I've already got
Summer Aventurine, Summer Robin, and Summer Robin's incredibly fat birds.
Yeah, I mean, you give somebody a fat animal companion, I'm like, yeah, I'll pull for that. I already got a functional remembrance team. I'm still gonna pull for the chicken. Robin's also there, not that chicken.
Plural.
That you gave.
So, they're not really beating the bird allegations here.
Like,
No.
like the Charmony pigeons are a lot fatter when they grow up than I expected them to be.
But yeah, so it's a Robin's summer themed character, Wind Remembrance. It's implied to be a character based on what the leakers said. It's implied to be a character that it's sort of like in the vein of Permansatere donates memo sprites to other characters, and those characters using those memo sprites to act will contribute to generating follow-ups from Robin. But predominantly based on what leakers say, she is a type of support. How exactly she meshes with the other characters is not very clear. But I presume she's probably going to be a support for the Evernight Hypercarry format, because the Castorus format is kind of deadlocked for characters at this point. Whereas there's still a little bit of wiggle room in Evernight Hypercarry. So, but we don't really know. For all we know, she's a Remembrance character that makes other teams able to function as Remembrance teams. But she is an HP scaler, so she does mesh with the others in the classic Remembrance format.
That Harmony
Eventually in the league
Pigeon has
Go on.
French fries for a head.
Yes, which is why everybody's
Yeah.
theorizing that little Ika will try and eat it. But yeah, the leakers imply that the Summer Aventurine never let the Femoids claim that there is no fan service for girls in gacha games. The Aventurine one is like, from the early leaks, they were saying that there was going to be a husbando team in 4.x where you could play what people are calling monomen, as a play on mono-rem, which is the shorthand for the Remembrance team. But he is a elation character, and what the leakers have been saying is that he's got a passive that turns him into a follow-up attack character if the number of elation characters in the team is exactly 1, and he functions like a type of elation support if the number of elation characters is greater than 1 in the team. So yeah, he's going to be a dual function character of sorts, because there are a lot of people who pulled Super Wolf but didn't pull Sparksy, and so there's room for a lot of people to put somebody in over top of Elation Trailblazer so that they can use their Elation Trailblazer other places, and the demand for that is going to be quite high with Himiko Nova coming out, since Remembrance Trailblazer is extremely strong in the Himiko Nova team. Not that Remembrance Trailblazer isn't like bonkers powerful everywhere, but yeah, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to earmark Trailblazer for that team, and that's going to basically leave Elation out in the cold, even though Elation is sort of like the main new archetype for this series. So that's why there's a certain amount of theorizing that Aventurine is going to be sort of a slot filler in Elation mode for people who are allocating Trailblazer elsewhere. That's one theory anyway. I'm sure there are many theories about what he's going to do, because there are no leaked kits yet. They don't tend to emerge until the new patch is deployed. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that count. But yeah, nobody really knows anything about where the story will go after Planet Arcadia. So that said, I have also like blocked, or not quite blocked, but have managed to sort of like down rank on the algorithm the accounts amongst the leakers I know that also leak plot content. So maybe everybody knows what's going to happen, and I'm the only one who doesn't. Who knows? Anyway, moving on to Genshin. New patch dropped. Haven't had time to do much with it. I pulled Sandrone, but I haven't had an opportunity to use her since she uses materials from the new area that I have yet to unlock, despite the quantity of story I've already sat through, which is not actually all that much because I haven't had that much time. But basically, Traveller is returning to Fontaine for the Fontanalia Film Festival and helping Xavier film his latest masterpiece, which Columbina was doing some touring, and Xavier saw her and was enraptured and demanded that she be the main actress, and scrapped his current script to write a new script purely so that his film can have Columbina in it. And so they are now roaming around filming things. Meanwhile, Sandrone is trying to do some research because she's barely hanging together as things currently are, and needs to find some stuff from her past in order to try and shore up her continued existence, and also avoid Columbina in the process because she's not ready to see her again yet because she's afraid that she could keel over at any second. Yeah, that's the rough layout of what's going on presently. Sandrone's character is quite a bit different this time round. You can still see the classic prickly Sandrone now and again, but it seems like dying has filed off a few of the rougher edges. She's a lot more sort of like gentle and melancholic and reflective now, having had to go through dying. Though she still gets stroppy now and again, and as it turns out, she also has a dark toony past, even though she's a
Of course you
robot.
do.
She tried. Well, it didn't last very long, but it lasted long enough for her to become very embarrassed. But yeah. The event that accompanies it seems to be extremely elaborate and time consuming, and that I haven't even gotten to the new region, so I don't even know how to get to the new region. I'm still waiting for that to happen because I haven't had enough time to play. But the parts of the event that I've played so far are actually like pretty engaging, and this is like, it almost feels like the double whammy for Star Rail 4.3, because Star Rail 4.3 got off on the wrong foot with ZZZ being alongside, and now as it comes to a close, the new Genshin chapters come out and its events are like vastly superior. So basically the event, I've only unlocked 2/3 of it, but the part of the event that I've unlocked is basically you're trying to stock an aquarium, because running an aquarium is sort of like Sandrone's cover story for being in Fontaine, since Fontaine and the Harbingers don't exactly get along all that well. So she's allegedly running an aquarium and has no interest in actually running an aquarium. So basically palmed the task off on Traveler and Paimon, who were incredibly excited about the idea of running an aquarium. So basically what you do is you go on a dive in a fontaine area that is created. I think it's the same shape each time. I don't think it's procedurally generated, but the contents are procedurally generated to a certain extent. And you basically go fishing. You use various underwater fontaine creature abilities to hunt for sea creatures that you can knock out and put in your aquarium. You go down there for 6 minutes and you basically collect chests and collect sea creatures, and you put them in your bag, which is the exact same shape as the gondola storage space in Woowa, and you arrange them like that to try and get maximum capacity, and you get various knickknacks and things from the chest, bits of interesting objects in that. And you haul those back as well. And there's usually also a boss creature in the region which you can fight using the Fontaine abilities, and take that back as well if you can get it, which is usually quite a high value sea creature. And then when you get back, you'll of course get rewarded with various coins for the loot you brought back. And then with all the knickknacks, you with the sea creatures, you can stuff them into the aquarium tanks and just watch them swim around. With the knickknacks, then there's another mini game where you sort of lay them out on a counter as guests in the aquarium come by, and you get like 2 minutes. And occasionally somebody will wander over to the store and they will either want to buy something or they'll want a particular item, in which case you can switch it onto the counter, and you basically have to serve as many customers from your stash of collected relics as possible within 2 minutes to collect more dosh that you can feed back into the system. So it's actually quite an in-depth little mini game. And it looks like it's going to take a freaking eternity to do compared to most events. So, because it's just, there are multiple stages that you've got to deal with, and that's relatively complex in layout, with the multiple stages being like, there's literally different stages where you can get different kinds of fish of varying rarities and types from, and then there's there's the aquarium stage, and you build hype for your aquarium by decorating your aquarium and you're filling it with sea creatures. And then there's the selling various souvenirs stage, where you've got to try and collect currency by enticing people to come and purchase useless knickknacks from the gift shop, which is, part and parcel of every proper aquarium. But yeah, it's surprisingly engaging. I'm sure it gets old very quickly once you've been doing it for a bit, because it looks like it's going to take quite a few hours to actually get through, because there's a lot of it. And occasionally there'll be like a mini quest. Like, for instance, the first one is Seguin comes and asks you to hunt a particular sea creature that is riling up all the other sea creatures and making them aggressive. And so you go down there and it's like you've got to fight this pair of stingrays that fight together, and so on. So yeah, interesting little mini game. There is, of course, the whole moon thing, because you go to the moon, and I haven't been there yet. I don't know how we get up onto the moon, because the story has not been bending in that direction at all as of yet. But because the beginning part of the story is basically about Sandrone and hanging out with Sandrone and embarrassing Sandrone at every opportunity. And of course, Sitlali is there too, because Sitlali basically came to Fontaine to attend the premiere of the movie made it during the film festival out of her favorite light novel. And in the process, she decided that she didn't like the bed in the hotel she was staying, because she's old and grumpy and picky, and decided that she needed to find somewhere else to stay, but she needed to get money for that. So she decided she would just take a job, and what she ended up doing, unknowingly, was taking a job as Sandrone's receptionist at the aquarium. So she's working the reception desk, and, being Sitlali is like the one of the very few characters in Genshin who is like openly thirsting for the traveler. So basically gets flustered every 5 minutes. I folded instantly and bought her outfit, which is very cute. It's basically her pajamas, and she when she first meets the traveler, she's wearing her pajamas. Because according to her, she got drunk and fell in the fountain, so all her clothes are wet, which is pretty much stock standard Sitlali behavior. But yeah, overall, it's been a pretty good experience so far. But like I said, I've experienced very, very little of it. But yeah, it seems pretty solid so far. In as much as, generally speaking, the trend for nod cry writing has been that it's very simple but effective. Like they haven't tried to do anything overly complicated. They've just tried to write the basics well, and this seems to be more or less continuing in that vein. It does feel a little bit jarring seeing Sandrone's sort of character diverge so sharply away from her being prickly all the time to only being prickly when embarrassed or surrounded by lots of people that she needs to put up a front for. But yeah, I'm kind of liking it. Haven't had time to play with Sandrone yet. There is also the upgrades to some extant characters. There are people who are saying, and you can make a case for it. It's not the only case you can make, but you can make a case for Chi-Chi being best in slot for Sandrone. It's not something anybody
Okay.
thought would ever happen, because Chi-Chi's kit gets upgraded to work with the new mechanics coming for Snezhnaya.
Snezhnaya. Yes.
Snezhnaya.
Yes.
Additionally, various other characters like Baidu and Yaimiko and Wriothesley, etc., also get their kits upgraded to mesh properly with all of that. And yeah, I haven't had a chance to really play with it because I haven't built Sandrone properly yet. But yeah, it's nice to see them bring somebody back as relevant. I just wish that it wasn't just bringing them back to be relevant to one particular team only. But you know how Hoyo are these days with Genshin. I don't know why they keep doing this, but they do. Probably they just don't really feel like they can make generic teams anymore. Judging by the way people react if they make generic characters, I'm not really surprised that they've just decided to go all in on the highly specific approach, because basically social media's toxicity results in characters not selling if they aren't BIS when they come out, and the only way to make a character BIS without breaking the whole game is to have it work in only one team. So yeah, I think that it's a lot of the toxic community's doom posting has made them decide that this is the only safe route for character development, which I don't think is a very courageous way of approaching the problem, but it is the way they've chosen. But yeah, I'm still weighing up whether or not I will attempt to pull Yaemiko's signature weapon, because that signature weapon has defeated me so many times in the past. And I just, it's on that banner. It's on the banner, the mixed character banner special thingy, meaning that
You can get a
it's not
Kazuha.
going to carry pity. I don't want Kazuha.
I got a Kazuha
I
that
don't
way.
know. I don't think Kazuha's on this banner. But yeah, I because it doesn't share pity with anything else, you've basically got to go all in or go home, and that would basically bleed me dry of Prima Gems, and I'm not sure if I want to go down that road at this stage since Snezne is just around the corner. Odette has been drip marketed, but nobody really knows exactly what slot she fills, other than she probably belongs in Sandrone's team. Then again, I do have quite a few cryo characters already, since I have a Skirk team that I run as well. When basic attacking is the order of the day, then the Skirk is also the order of the day. But that means that I've got bits and pieces floating around like Sitlali and Escoffier, who can fill most cryo slots. So whether or not Odette becomes a must-use, still up in the air. They're going to try and make her a must-use, but it's a question of, are they a must-use by 10% or are they must-use by 50% type of thing? Because most of the current combinations are quite close together. Yaimiko is definitely a big bonus to any Sandrone team, because she just meshes with Sandrone perfectly. But that's unlikely to last indefinitely. There's going to be replacements, of course. But what if that replacement is an icky boy? Ugh.
Yeah.
That's always the problem.
Like Sandrone,
So yeah,
look decent. Like I like Sandrone. Odette looks pretty, but the current state of Genshin team design just makes me think. Well, I mean, yeah, but I'm gonna have to pull this very specific team for it. And what if it has a Nicky boy? Or what if I don't like the other characters? And then by the time the reruns run around,
well, I think the problem with you is not that, because like I'm not concerned about that at all, because I know that I've got a stable of cryo characters. You, on the other hand, are cryo poor, like
yeah,
really cryo poor.
yeah, we're going to the cryo region, and I got yeah, I got that many cryo characters. I have a sit lolly.
Like I reckon that if you really wanted to run Sandrone, you could just like jam Sitlali in there, jam Whackbot in there, jam Chi Chi in there, and you're golden.
I don't have Chi Chi.
You don't have Chi Chi?
I don't think I
She
have
must
Chi.
be hanging out with. She must be hanging out with Verena.
Yeah, there seems to be one. I might have finally got her eventually, but I don't think I have Chi
I
Chi.
only just got her. I got her very recently. Very recently.
Yeah,
But you've got Sitlali, you've got your Miko, you've got Yon Whackbot. Like you could run that team if you wanted, but there's no way of knowing exactly how efficient it's going to be. I haven't seen any math for using Whackbot, but Whackbot's overpowered everywhere, so I would assume it would work.
Whackbot is the comfort pick. That shield is not no joke. Doesn't seem like much on paper.
Sandrone really needs a shield as well, which is why I'm putting Sitlali in that team, because Sandrone likes to just sort of float around and shoot at things, and things can just jump on her face and then it goes badly.
The other problem is I have 0 Prima Gems.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's also going to be a problem.
Yeah, so coming back, if I don't have
But
like
you,
an
you
entire region to go hoover up gems from,
well,
I got no chance of getting a
there's a
character.
there's an entire region in this current version, but in that case, I would probably just hold off to Snezhnaya. Because when Snezhnaya comes out, there's going to be Primogems for days because it'll be a whole new expansion, a whole new continent. So that might be the better time for it.
Yeah.
And of course, you'll know like what is the shape of the approach they're going to take because Odette will be out, so you'll have a little bit more insight at that point. So there's a reasonable argument to be made for that angle. Anyway, I guess I will report more on that when I've had a chance to consume more of the content to see how it all shapes out and why we've decided to join the Tales series and go to Space.
I wonder if
Every RPG sooner or later goes to space.
they said they're working on a new Tales of game, but I don't think we've heard anything about it.
Tales of DLC.
Yes.
The Woowa has not done anything this week because this is the last week, basically. So, yeah.
Repatch week. We got the
I
little
still haven't.
Cyberpunk hacking
Go on.
minigame.
Yeah, I guess. It's kind of trivial.
Yeah, it's just the hacking minigame from Cyberpunk.
But, yeah, I mean, it's not nothing, but it's also not really something.
It's,
I've got still stuff left to do in Woowa, but I don't know if I'll get around to it. Like, I didn't even attempt the harder challenges in with Lucy and Rebecca simply because I was busy doing other things, and I don't know whether or not I'll get around to it. Maybe I will. It's unlikely that I will, but they don't really reward much anyway. I have so many things to do.
need the
yeah.
Denny's.
Well, yeah, I mean, and speaking of the Denny's though, like I'm really thinking about looking for a new job IRL because, frankly, the higher ups just seem to be getting more and more balmy with each passing day at my current job.
Yeah, it's time to run.
Yeah, like I don't. I've got a massive notice period on my contract, so finding another job is going to be tough. So I might as well start earlier rather than later. Yeah, but they just seem to be completely disconnected from reality at this point. Like
Yeah.
I'm at the lowest ebb of staff that I've ever had, and they are trying to jack up the amount of work that I've got to do by like 50%. Like, this is not possible. Like, if I could freaking stop time, I couldn't do this.
Yeah, seems
It's
for your
just
own mental
nuts.
health, you should probably look for another job.
Yeah, what I'm scared of is that jobs are the same everywhere.
Yeah,
Like, what if I leap from one production treadmill to the next production treadmill? Like, there's a particular, there's like a dairy manufacturing outfit not far from where I currently work that is looking for somebody that I fit the position to a T, but it will just be following production KPIs probably,
yeah, but
which is currently what is murdering me. So, well, what's the attitude to production KPIs going to be? I don't know. I'm actually thinking of attempting to see if there are government jobs and work in like, I'm thinking of working in intelligence, actually,
oh boy,
because it does overlap with my field in various ways at various branches of government. But more importantly, you can't work for them if you've lived overseas because you're a security risk. So if I work there, then I don't have to worry about my department getting entirely populated with people who only speak Hindi.
that's
It's an
true.
advantage.
And quality of output at government jobs is not on the top of the priority list. So you'll in theory be able to treat it like a government job.
I'll be able to go home when my shift is over instead of 4 hours after my shift is over.
And if your agency gets screwed over, well, yeah, that's just another way of screwing over the government.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, if it's the sort of job that also kind of looks good on a CV generally, like if you can get one. But yeah, because I've had to work with MPI in the past, and they intersect with biosecurity, which intersects with intelligence. There are actually jobs in that vein, and they do have an office in my city. So I'm going to take a poke at that maybe. But yeah, like I said, the problem with me though is my notice period because it's gigantic. My notice period is like 8 weeks because they know that me leaving will destabilize the business. But that sounds like a problem for somebody else.
Yeah, that's a them problem.
I mean, if they didn't want me to leave, then all they needed to do was not mistreat me. I mean, how hard is that?
Yeah.
But yeah, so that might make me busy if I get any nibbles from any of the feelers that I put out. Who knows what's available? There was actually some jobs that I was interested in that I was just unfortunately not quite, like my specialization wasn't quite good enough. Like there was a job that pays about 50% more than the one I currently do that is basically the same portfolio of work, except it requires more experience with hematology than I have, since I work in classic micro, not in immunology, so I didn't have quite the knowledge base required, even if I had all the practical skills. So unfortunately, but that would have been good. Getting paid that much more, I probably would have been able to swallow the KPI thing a bit longer. But yeah. Anyway, we'll leave my week there. What else do we have on the docket?
A couple news slits this week. The big one is that PlayStation is just doing their best to join up in the recent run of console manufacturers shooting themselves in the foot with
Yeah.
their big announcement of starting in like October, no new games released be will have physical copies or something like that. I think that's what it was.
Look, another reason not to buy a PlayStation.
Yeah, like these people seem to forget that like one of the biggest selling points of consoles was, you know, you could just get the console and put the disc in and play the video game. There was no rigmarole, but they've already started eroding that with patches and day one required fixes, or what do they call them? Like they only put the raw game files, but to play it, you actually have to download a patch now.
No, remember, like this is from like I remember I was living back over the other side of the city at this time, so that would have been around the time Cataclysm came out. What was it? Oh yes, the version of Street Fighter they released that only had a downloader on the disc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like Street Fighter 4 or something. What year was that?
It was probably because they Street Fighter 4 did the continued the trend of that era where they would re-release the game with new content instead of it just being a DLC.
It was a really awful era. It was
Anyway,
Capcom at the lead of it.
Yeah, so it's probably arcade edition
what I
or
mean to
something.
say is that this clownish bullshit has been going on for a couple decades at this point.
Yeah, and it's been slowly eroding like the simple usability of consoles the more that they do it. Because you don't get any simpler than put disc in tray, close tray, play vidya.
Well, I mean, it does get a little bit simpler because, like the 64, you didn't have to open or close a tray; you just ram the cartridge in.
Then, yeah, and then if you go back to the NES, you still had to close the tray, and sometimes you had to blow on it. And they told you not to do that, but it did work. So yeah, I it hits especially funny with Sony doing it because they won that entire console generation on the PS4 generation by just with their video of this is how you share games on the PS4, and they're like, oh yeah, no physical copies anymore.
A lot of water under the bridge since then, though.
Yeah, it has been a
of
while.
changes in
Mm.
people in charge, changes in business strategy, changes in entire entire branch of the company in Japan being demoted to playing second fiddle to a bunch of, Bay Area lunatics.
Yeah, I mean, and I would love for it to bite him in the butt, but unfortunately, I just don't think people are as gung ho about it anymore. People don't understand, especially the younger you get with the younger generations coming up. They just don't understand the value of owning your own stuff.
I think that it is going to bite them in the butt, but it's not going to be that bites them in the butt. I think what's going to bite them in the butt is I think that Gen Alpha are not even going to understand or care about consoles, period.
Yeah,
And I don't think that they're grappling with that yet. They still think the consoles are going to continue to be a thing.
yeah,
Like, what's going to happen to PlayStation when nobody wants to buy a console because they've got a computer, if they've got a phone, or they've got a tablet, or they've got a whatever?
yeah. We're starting to stratify from, it was the consoles 4 years versus the PC Master Race forever, and now, while we are currently going through turmoil, the PC Master Race is still here and probably will still exist in some form for a while. But you will have the very deep gulf of PC players and mobile tablet players, and the consoles will not be a factor because
I mean,
what?
there is basically nobody anymore for whom owning a PC is just a weird thing. Like, that, it's just a thing that everybody does now, to
Yeah,
some extent. And so there's not that space for a console to fill for people who don't have a PC. That's not a thing anymore. Arguably, judging because of the fact that everybody has a PC, arguably the console is now the more complex option compared to having a PC and using that for your gaming entertainment.
yeah, and there just aren't any good exclusives on the consoles to make it worth getting either. Like, nobody wants to play the latest Ubisoft clone that Naughty Dog's cranked out, or Uncharted 5, or what you call it, The Last of Us next one, even gayer edition. So, I mean, I just don't see consoles surviving anymore in the
The
environment we're
stuff
in.
that stuff I've seen about Sony's first party games that are coming out look laughable.
Yeah,
Like, nobody's going to play that crap. That's awful.
they just don't seem to know how to invest their money. Like the new God of War games are okay.
Well,
They're
the
just
argument that
okay.
I've seen is that I think Bellula was harping on this as well, that the suspicion is that Sony is just basically done with risk generally, and they are effectively just going to function as a publisher going forward
Yeah.
and supply money for third parties to produce things that they've got investment in, but they have no attachment to. So they are not going to have to cop any flack if there's layoffs. They are not going to have to pay any wages. They're not going to have to do anything other than give the agreed upon cut at the end of the day. Nothing will stick to them. They'll be like Teflon. And they can pick up all of the latest properties and so on that way just by farming that stuff out, rather than keeping it in house and having, like, in the next flop from the Horizon Zero Dawn whatever franchise.
How did you
Like,
ruin Robot
how?
Dinosaurs?
Yeah, robot dinosaurs. How can you screw that up? There's like no way to screw that up.
Yeah, they
Oh, I
screwed it
mean,
up.
actually, you could put in a female character and then make her look like a ginger dilbert, and that will be popular because of reasons.
Like, okay, we have robot dinosaurs. Okay, we're gonna have a lady as the protagonist. Okay, I'm sold. Okay, now smash the lady in the face with a frying pan. Wait, what?
The thing is that she wasn't that ugly in the first game.
No, she wasn't.
She did
She's
get,
a relatively normal female protagonist for that era.
which was still Ugo, but not mega Ugo.
Well, it didn't make you cringe every time she was facing the camera.
I still didn't like her in the
Cringe
first
every
game.
time she opened her mouth instead.
Yeah, that was that.
Yeah, but then she put on 100 pounds somehow,
And it all went to her jowls.
despite the fact that they're from like a pre-farming civilization or something, aren't they?
Something like that. It's weird.
So there shouldn't be the abundance for you to become a fatty in that era.
So yeah, that's the thing that's happening. The console, the people that remain on console with console as their main source of play, I find are more disconnected than they've ever been. Like, because it's just people like the opossum.
Who just wants to play GTA and Red Dead?
Yeah, and oh boy, did GTA sell like hotcakes.
Did it? I haven't even seen any news on it.
I think it's like 30 billion in dollar dues, in America dollar dues.
Is it like out, or is that pre-orders, or
That's
like,
pre-orders.
That'd be pre-orders, yeah.
Yeah, pre-orders just went up. As far as I know, we don't even have a trailer for the game.
What engine is it built on?
I think it's Rockstar in-house. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure
I think it's custom.
Yeah, I think it's an in-house engine.
Is it the same as the last that long runner GTA?
No
Did
idea.
they use the same engine? Because that one is famous for technical issues and being CPU bound.
Yeah. Well, it's not getting a PC release right away, so it's doubly irrelevant to us. And the reasoning they gave was because basically PC players don't buy as many microtransactions as console players, so that we're not as big of a priority. They just flat out said it.
Well, I mean, I guess that makes sense because mostly PC players are going to be the people who will spend their shrapnel amounts of cash on indie games instead of on bits for larger games.
Yeah, and
for the most part.
We'll also crack your game and mod it because to us we still own our stuff even if it is just a file.
But I mean, that's sort of that makes sense for Sony to go all in on that type of thing as well, though, right? Because I bet they take a cut out of all those in-game transactions.
Guarantee they do.
I mean, that's the case with Genshin. Like Genshin on the PlayStation, Sony gets a slice of every Primogen purchased.
I imagine it's the same with adding stuff to Steam. Although I don't know what I know their purchase policy is for new games is 30% goes to Steam, which has been I think that's the industry standard for new purchases when sold on a storefront, a digital storefront. I don't know what Steam's policy is for stuff like currency.
I when I buy currency on like Woo, I buy it through Kuro's storefront instead anyway, because I want them to get the money. Because they're doing such great work. I need them to get every single. If I'm going to spend money, I need them to get every single dime, so that they can put Chisa in the next patch.
Nah. They're just going to hide a pair of safety scissors inside of every patch, and that'll be your Chisa for the patch.
Free.
They'll be red, though.
I saw a bunch of people posting about how they were upset with Chisa getting short shrift, though, and because they did that story survey where you could comment on how you felt the characters were developed and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And lots of people had words about the treatment of Chisa in that survey.
Yeah.
So maybe Kuro won't bring her back, but maybe they won't treat characters like that in future, where they big them up and then they just forget that they exist instantaneously.
Or maybe they'll have Chisa come sail into the rescue in the middle of a random patch on her motorbike, pipe organ grill, or whatever it is.
Well, realistically, she's basically the last evacuee from Ashinohara who hasn't had a region patch yet. And it's canonical if you read her notes in game that Hiyuki has been actively avoiding Chisa because they're both from Ashinohara, and she basically thinks that Chisa would perceive her as bad luck because Miko's only supposed to show up when there's a calamity.
I see. But yeah.
So, I mean, if they do visit that region later to untangle it, because, I mean, Hiyuki says that the Threnodian is basically still there, still active in Ashinohara. So, presumably Rover's going to have to go and put it down sooner or later. Maybe they'll bring back Chisa. Maybe I'll get to pull Chisa SP and get a whole bunch of wave bands on her too.
Probably get your next Chisa rerun before my next Peabody run. Oh.
I don't know. I'd say that of all of the, as far as sort of like overall number of spheres touched, Phoebe is probably the most popular character in WoW.
Yeah. If you take all the levels of play and all the everything into account, most people know who PP is. She is the one that got the figure. I mean, how can you not love
That's
her?
Magic Hat.
They do. Her cheeks are so squishable. Her head looks like a football. It's the most adorable thing on the planet. Yeah, that was the only newslet that really jumped out to me because I was stuck in Yakuza Animal Crossing and 4th of July stuff and was killing myself today. I didn't really do anything today. You got anything, Vern? Besides Didgeridoo?
No, I don't. Didgeridoo is about the extent of it. I have not really seen a whole lot of news this week because everyone's basically been spurging out about GTA 6 coming.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen anybody talking about GTA 6 at all.
It is
Not a hint
literally
of it.
every real life person I know that plays video games won't shut up about it right now.
Because
Yeah.
I live in Gacha space, and Gacha space this past week has been stuffed with drama. Because
I mean,
of
isn't it always?
Love and Deep Space, particularly the highest grossing gacha in the world.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Foids are gooners, even if they don't want to believe that they are. But basically, they were going. Love and Deep Space is a gacha with like 5 characters, grand total. I don't know how their gacha works exactly, but the core of the thing, there are only 5 characters. Presumably, they pull stuff for them, or they pull different versions of them, or whatever. And the game is basically softcore porn. Like, I'm not talking ZZZ or Woowa type of fan service. I'm talking softcore porn. The debacle, however, is that they went to release a 6th husbando, and there was like an explosion of drama came out of it, and it was it's very, very hard to drill down on what the exact cause of the drama was, and there have been multiple different allegations made by people on every conceivable side of the argument, and it's very hard to work out what the underlying cause of it all was. The superficial cause that floated to the top initially, and which sounds reasonable, is that basically there were some core husbandos hadn't had their main story updated in like 500 days, and the idea that they would release a whole new husbando when the ones that they're already attached to weren't getting sufficient updates made a lot of them really mad, and they threw tantrums, and they sent nasty things to the developers' offices, and they stuffed dung into the mailbox, and all of the usual delicious things that people do when they are, autistic Chinese trophy wives with nothing to do but infinity dollars.
Yeah, this seems way too sane of a reason for Floyd's, though.
But yeah, regardless, what was that noise?
Ignore that.
But there are other things came out as well. Like, supposedly there was like anti-Chinese stuff embedded in there related to the Second World War or whatever, which sounds kind of weird and sketchy. Like, sounds like a more of a post hoc rationalization than anything else. However, various fallouts happened from this. First of all, the fallout was that the developer released an announcement that because there were so many people who were upset by their announcement, they were cancelling the character, cancelling all future development on that character, and going to return to developing the extant characters. Which is a capitulation that none of the other gacha companies have ever made to that extent. The problem was that this just caused a second backlash because of all the people who were waiting for this character. And so there was another round of Foid spurging. And now there are basically two diametrically opposed factions of Foids who are both spurging at the same company for opposite reasons, and it has become impossible for the company to win. But that may end up not mattering in the long run, because one of the tactics engaged in by the Foids that were freaking out was to report the product to the government of China for a variety of alleged infractions. And the Chinese government takes a very, very dim view of Foid literature. For instance, dramas where a billionaire playboy falls in love with a regular girl and sweeps her off her feet are banned in China. Because when they studied the issue, they found that there was a measurable, precipitous drop-off in marriage rates because a new generation of Foids were taking it too seriously. It actually believed that if they just held on long enough, a billionaire would sweep them off their feet because they were consuming there were more of these things than there were isekai animes. It was like the only kind of TV drama getting produced by a lot of outlets. Just dozens and dozens of them, and the population was consuming these things as fast as they could be made. And it had pretty much distorted an entire generation of women's view of the world, and none of that generation were getting married. Which is something that, as a highly interventionist totalitarian government, the CCP take very seriously. And so they just banned all of that type of media. There's basically, you can't slide a cigarette paper between that type of media and Love and Deep Space. So the developer has suddenly removed all hints that they ever developed Love and Deep Space from their official website, apparently. I haven't checked myself to verify it because I don't really want to go there. So it seems like there's a better than even chance that the highest grossing gacha in the world may now be dead in the water, purely because Foids spurged out over their husbandos.
I can feel some sympathy towards the second group. The ones that were looking forward to the new character and weren't saying anything because, you know, they're getting what they wanted.
The only action that I found that they had taken that seemed verifiable was basically petition campaigns. The truly psychotic behavior seems to all be like the Chinese trophy wife contingent.
Yeah. I mean, if I had a waifu that I liked coming out in a gacha game, but it wasn't one of the older ones and people were upset about it and throwing a spurt fit, I'd be pretty mad if they got that character canceled. I can understand being mad about that. But, I mean, we're used to the gacha space and the gaming space in general at this point at a level that the Foids can't process. So, you know, our characters going, you know, 300, 500, 800 days without any updates. That's normal.
Just you wait, Cecil will make it back into the game eventually.
You might be waiting more than 800.
It's not fair, man. But yeah, so the gacha space is full of drama as usual. It don't stop, can't stop.
Yeah.
It's just a question of whether it's upsetting or whether it's entertaining. And the Love and Deep Space thing was entertaining right up until one particular point. And that particular point was the Foids discussing which gacha they should move to, and a significant contingent of them concluding Woo-Woo was the one for them.
I don't think they'll make it. At least
I
not.
don't think they'll make it either, because most of them don't know how to play video games.
Like
They're
yeah. Wu was
They're
2
accustomed to
video
love and deep
games.
space, which is not really for gamers per se. But yeah, the arguments that they were making was that, oh well, basically, Wu was a feminist production. It must be because women are in charge of all of the nations, and most of the characters that are important to the story are female. That means it must be a feminist story, right? So, and even if they only release 2 husbandos a year, the husbandos are extremely high quality and get good story, and there's a higher rate of husbando release than story updates for their husbandos in Love and Deep Space. So
I mean, last time Anne Brandt did anything was the finale of 2.0.
he'll be back. Lots of people like Anne Brandt.
Poor Brandt.
Is he in the current event for Elusive Realm? Like, can you like main Brent?
I don't
I can't
know.
check because we're in co-op, but I didn't check to see if Brent was playable. But yeah, I mean, it's not like you can't use Brent. He didn't. I mean, he may not be meta, but he still does his job and he does it well.
Yeah.
So if you do actually play video games, you can still get mileage out of Brent. If what you're interested in has Abando's story, well, you may end up disappointed. But the last thing we need is a massive infusion of insane Chinese Void to ruin Woowa. But
I don't think they'll make it very far past the gate.
I think the problem is that it's not necessary for them to make it past the gate. If they fall at the first hurdle and they spurge out and decide to concoct something for the CCP to just unilaterally destroy Kuro over, then they will do that. That would be really sad. But that's Voids for you.
Yeah. Another containment bay destroyed. Whenever I hear about some part of that space being in trouble, I'm like, danger, enemies approaching, unknown direction, unknown vectors, because things like that act as containment bays for the crazies.
Yeah, like Genshin is a containment bay for like one of the lower tiers of crazies, for instance. Is why they're not playing Woowa, because they're playing Genshin. A lot of the crazies are playing Limbus Company.
I know
Like
the
that.
name of that one, but I don't know anything about it.
Well, I don't know anything about the game either. What I do know is that the population playing it, 100% of them have flags in the bio.
Hmm.
Right. Nimbus Company. That rings a bell. Hang on. I think I've played it.
The only thing I know about like extra gacha games aside from the ones I play.
Maybe it's not. Maybe it's I'm remembering a different one. My
Yeah,
brain just chucked up a name. I remember there is a character. There's one that had a particularly characteristic name. That might be the name of a different game that had a similar aesthetic.
Limbus
that my brain
Company
just-
is a build your own SCP Foundation game.
All right. Okay. So it's a different one then.
Like
But, yeah,
I know Brown
my-
Dust 2
my-
gets memes all the time, but I don't.
Well, Brown Dust 2 gets memes for a different reason. Brown
That's because-
Dust 2, because they are basically softcore porn, but they keep getting censored. And
No, right, I tell a lie. It is Korean Gunabate. What is this thing? I'm looking at it and I'm trying to figure out what I'm looking at. It's weird.
what are you looking at?
He found a Limbus company that's
I
Korean
found the Limbus
Gunabate.
Company. Well, it's got Gunabate in it, but it's also got a lot of blood.
Well, I mean, if there's one thing that the Foids liked as much as gooning, it's murder porn.
Yeah. Yeah, Lobotomy Corporation was the SCB one, but it's by the same team. That's where it came from. And I think it's actually set in the same universe.
Well, I'll take your word for it because I don't really want to know a huge amount about it. But yeah, I know that that's really been a massive containment vector for keeping people with pink, white, and blue flags in the bio contained.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they're always putting out feelers to try and contaminate somebody else's game, which is why they are convinced that every character in every Hoyo game is a homosexual because they're enthusiasts. They haven't had as much success with ZZZ as they have had with others, simply because ZZZ is so brazen about its booba, and they have difficulty stomaching that. So,
oh boy, do they keep going in that game. Trigger's
I mean,
booty
like,
is still jiggling from the first time it started, and it has not stopped.
it's sort of like it gives lie to the entire thing that like most of these people claim to be either lesbians or bisexuals, and yet they can't stand pretty women. It's like, well, you're kind of not really living up to the hype you've built around yourself, are you? In fact, it kind of seems like you're just an entryist trying to destroy something to upset other people. But yeah, it's the gacha space is always full of drama. It's always a question of what's the drama going to be out this week. It's usually content creator drama, which I hate because it's pointless and stupid. But when it actually involves the games, it can actually have knock-on effects to things that we're actually involved in, depending on how far the ripples spread.
I'm thinking Wuwa, by its nature, if any of them do try to break into the game, it'll have a bounce effect and they'll go somewhere else because they're in search mode.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't like end up ruining Silver Palace or something that I'm actually looking forward to, because like most of the early marketing material for Silver Palace used the elder sister as the main character. It's depending on whether you play as the male character or the female character. If you play as the female character, you're the elder sister and the younger brother went missing. If you play as the male character, you're playing the younger brother and the elder sister went missing in the backstory of the game. But because the sister is the one that the early promo material was done with, and the sort of a heavily involved character that you meet early on is a female character, and there's lots of sort of like flirtatious animation between them. The you can sort of hear the Yuritards coming, sort of thing. Hopefully, they won't colonize it, but
They're already
yeah,
at the gates. Remember when
yeah,
Tumblr failed?
yeah, and they broke containment. It spread all over the internet.
Like that place used to be just the oh no, do not go to Tumblr. Like that is where the true crazies live.
Yeah, I presume that a lot of them probably put down roots at like AO3 or something. But yeah, it used to be that they would hang out with your cohort of fanfiction.net posters, but I don't think they do so much anymore.
Yeah, well that whole website's kind of died. Uh yeah, it hadn't been relevant in 20, 30 years. But yeah, they disseminated everywhere and just infected everything. That made every part of the internet worse when that containment bay was broken. So like I've treated Love in Deep Space as a containment bay for similar to Tumblr, like that thing I want to be there because it keeps them all locked up. And if it fails, oh no.
Well, I mean, if it goes down, maybe Hoyo will get a resurgence in their particular version of that game. Don't they have one? Tears
Uh,
of Themis or something?
uh,
Pretty sure I saw it.
not the
Hoyo Lab, Hoyo Lab. Hoyo Lab? Help me out here. Where are we at? Yeah, Tears of Themis. It's their husbando game. Don't even know what it's about.
I think it has a song in DJ Maxx.
Really? They
think-
will collaborate with anyone, won't they?
Yeah, DJ Maxx will collab with. Well, less so now after the they had their own spout of East Asian drama. And that one of their new music packs featured some idol VTubers from some group, and like one of the group members had Smack Talk DJ Maxx before. This started a huge, what looked from the outside looking in, just totally disproportionate shitstorm from the Koreans. Because they take their competitive rhythm game very seriously. And so the DJ Maxx developers basically said, NeoS came out and said, okay, no more collabs unless it's an official collab with a collab pack. We're not just going to sneak them in anymore. They're not just going to be part, as bonus songs and the DLC stuff. We're just going to stop. The Asian rage mobs are something else. Pickle.
Right. What else have we got as far as news is concerned? Uh, 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 this looks very interesting.
It's been very frustrating because while everybody I know in real life is talking about GTA 5, there is literally no information out on it. And so they are just...
How are they talking about it then?
They're speculationing.
They are speculationing indeed.
And they will...
Well, speculation is normally seeded by having a small amount of information, not no information.
No, it is just no. You're thinking like there's some kind of rationality behind this. These are the opossum tier people.
It's all coming from asses.
What is an example of a thing that they are speculating to be so?
How big the city is going to be, and how they can't wait to do X, Y, and Z, like go parasailing or go steal an airplane and blow up all the bases on this side of the city or the buildings or whatever. I don't play.
Like I can't wait to pay like $100 to play the same game that I just played again.
Oh, there is one bit of kerfuffle drama with that where the game released at $100 retail, but you got to pay another $20 if you want the Ultimate Edition, and the base game locks you out of content in it. Dragon's Quest Origins style. If you don't buy the Ultimate Edition. Like, there are just people around, and you can't use their services without the Ultimate Pass in a single-player video game.
Well, I mean, if you're going to hook yourself up to that machine, I guess that's just the way it's going to go, right?
But yeah, the normies are bulging eyes hype for it. Like, every normie I know is that's all they care about right now.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the rest of the industry is just kind of diving for cover at the moment.
I was talking to my younger cousin, and he was going on about it, and he's like, "Are you gonna play when it comes out?" I'm like, "I can't." So why? I just bought a new PC, my guy. I don't have a PS5, and I'm not going to buy one. Like, you don't have a PS5? I'm like, no. Why would I?
That's the sort of question that kind of brings people up short.
I already got a PC, and that handles most of what a PS5 can do. The only reason I got a Switch was to play with you guys. That's portable.
But you have a Steam Deck for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, like there's still stuff that's coming up in the next couple of weeks. Like you've got the Power World 1.0 release coming up on Saturday.
Now they're...
that's going to come out? It's going to release?
I think they finally got most of their legal stuff sorted.
Most of it, yeah. Nintendo kind of got a bit of a smackdown at the end, as it turns out. Because, hey, they kept trying to move the goalposts, and the judge just said, no, the goalposts were set back there. We're setting there. So, that's going to be interesting.
In a discipline that is organized entirely around precedent, trying to change the precedent after it has ceased to serve your purpose is probably not going to work. Like, you laid this down to begin with. This is the fundamental premise of the argument. You can't then decide to correct it after the fact.
No, you cannot. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what mechanics that they took out are going to come back for the game. They've been teasing content constantly. They've been teasing what the new powers and everything look like, and I wish they wouldn't. Want to discover stuff?
Don't look at marketing.
Oh, it's just scroll down on YouTube and it's right there.
Oh, I don't get the YouTube. I don't get it in my YouTube feed, I guess, because I don't follow very much indie stuff.
Yeah, you follow any indie stuff whatsoever, or if you've looked at Power World at any point, and it's all over the place now.
Have you followed at all that new whatchamacallit, mobile phone Monster Hunters that's coming out?
I actually kind of forgot about that. No, I haven't.
I don't know when it's coming out, but it's going into another phase of beta shortly, so they're advertising it again.
Yeah, give me my phone here.
I want nothing more than GTA 6 come out and Cyberpunk. That would make
Just to
me.
be an absolute
I
dumpster
think-
fire.
That would
I
make me
think
so
that it's
happy.
almost certainly going to, because the bigger your open world, the more likely it is to spring a memory leak. And all of the people that are playing it are capped with PlayStation level rigs.
The Rockstar said they are targeting 30 FPS on a PS5 Pro.
So they're talking more like 23, 24 most likely.
Oh,
It's going to be
Yeah.
unplayable.
Wait till stuff starts happening and the game starts chug-a-lugging because they haven't optimized this thing at all. Because they probably have the most bloated dev team on the planet. I'm gonna laugh so hard. My witch's cackle will be heard across the globe. You guys will be able to hear it as I watch the opossum struggle to play the game he's been hyped about for like the last 3 months.
Yeah. Yeah. At the moment, that's kind of the big oncoming bus for the industry. Nobody wants to do anything with GTA 6 coming.
Yeah, it's like what if Silk Song was acknowledged by more than just the indie scene?
Yeah.
Like no indies wanted to compete with Silk Song, but nobody wants to compete with GTA.
Yeah, like we've seen it before. Before it got delayed and delayed and delayed. Every time one of their release dates was coming up, you'd see game publishers shift their release dates away from it.
Yeah.
It happened a lot because they've been delayed a lot. If it's finally coming out, we'll see. Honestly, I'm actually kind of expecting a last second 1 week delay.
You know, they're gonna put this game out. It's currently got functionally no media out for it. I don't think we have a single gameplay anything out for it yet. That's actual gameplay. I think we got a teaser trailer a bit ago, and there are only two reasons games to get delayed. One is you genuinely need more time, you've got the core everything together. But if you want to do optimization like a good company, you delay it. A delayed game is remembered forever, while a rush game is bad and all that. So saith Gabe Newell. Yeah. But the other reason you delay, especially if you repeatedly delay, is something has gone horribly wrong. And you are having to redesign stuff from the ground up mid-production.
Like what happened with Star Rail, that we seem like we're still suffering the after effects of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that it's going to, being a game of the scale it is, I think it's going to crater very early on, and there are probably going to be hard locks and people are going to lose their game progress. But the hype train will be so loud and large that probably it will get lost and it won't affect popularity or people's cultural memory of it at all. Like, I'm pretty sure the other GTAs were sort of like that they sort of, the larger, more recent ones have fallen apart as well, but nobody really remembers that.
I never got any of them at launch. I always, if like, I owned GTA 5, but I got it way after it came out. You know, I
I
didn't.
only played GTA 2 and 3. I didn't even play Vice City.
Yeah, I didn't play 2. I did play a little bit of 3 at a friend's house. I owned Vice City, but didn't play it very much. Played 4 close-ish to when it came out, and I don't remember anything about it. Um, and the and 5, I don't think I got anywhere near finishing it. I put the game down like 5 hours into it and didn't care.
Yeah, I'm much the same. Like, I played Vice City to death. Loved that. But 5, I kind of about halfway through, I think, and just faded off it.
4 came out at a time where I didn't have, functionally unlimited money when it comes to just buy a video game if you want to play it. So I was stuck with playing it for a while, but I could not tell you anything that happened because your stupid cousin was so annoying in that game. And
He was a tumor on that plot.
well, not the
Roman?
plot, the gameplay, because he
Hey,
phones you
Nico, my cousin, do you want to go bowling?
he phones you every 5 minutes to go bowling.
Yeah, he was just.
If I want my big urban sandbox with mini games, I'll stick to Yakuza. Even the games that don't particularly enjoy the gameplay of, at least have the Yakuza isms to keep entertaining. Maybe can do less with Patriarch What's His Nuts that's in the diaper. I think we've overused him. Can we please not do that anymore? All saw that.
Yeah.
I did see that, and I wish I hadn't.
There's a really touching sub-story going on, underneath all that.
I don't believe you.
Is there's an old
I
man.
don't want any kind. I don't want any kind of touching involving that guy.
Like, there was an old man, and Ichiban's trying to help him fulfill his last wish for his dying wife. And he gets to see snow in Hawaii as his wife passes away on her deathbed at the end of it. And making it happen is Patriarch Diaperface sitting there sending mulched up diapers down over the window.
Ew.
Because they're white. That kind of looks like snow when you mulch them up, right?
Guess?
And his wife's on her deathbed. She can't see and tell the difference.
I mean, it's sweet and touching in a very Yakuza way, I guess.
The part of the story that doesn't involve Patriarch What's-His-Nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, it's certainly criminal. I'll grant it that.
Yes, it definitely is. Anyway, we should look at wrapping up.
Yeah, I'm in pain.
You is pain.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
still in
Always pain.
All right. This has been Phoebe Shoots the Grass. Y'all got anything for us to send us out?
No.
Nope. Oh, I have to clean out my echoes again. Seriously.
Again?
Happens
It's
every
just like
show.
overcut. Yeah, I suppose it does.
Yeah. All right, folks. We will see you next week for another brilliant episode of Ameth Burns the Chickens.